Hello, everybody. Ooh, hold up right here. Lisa, how you doing?
I'm okay. I was trying to use my laptop instead of my phone, but I tried it like I don't say 20 minutes ago,
Mhm.
and it's like it froze up. I don't know if it's because Respring uses a lot of data or something, but I'm gonna use my phone for now, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
try to switch over to my computer. So I'm here though. Yay!
Yay!
And I'm excited. I don't know where we're gonna go. There's so many directions and so much to talk about. This book is crazy.
It is. I don't normally use my phone for sprinting because I don't know. I need a bigger screen. I'm all thumbs, so I really can't tell you how phone goes. I tried once and I didn't like it, so
Oh, well,
I
see,
can't give you
I
any
always
pointers
use my
whatsoever.
phone when I sprint with you. I always use my phone.
Oh, okay.
But this is my first time trying to do it on my laptop, and
Well,
then for whatever reason, it stopped.
mm.
So I had to
Okay,
turn my
well,
computer
hopefully
off.
it stays. Maybe the internet cut out. Can you turn your volume up a little bit? I don't know if it's my volume or your volume.
Mm,
I just want to make sure I can hear you good.
yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yep, yeah, I could hear you before too. I just wanted a little bit. You were just kind of muffled a little bit.
Oh, okay. It's maybe my hand was covering up the what do you call it, the microphone.
Let me make one little phone call because my mama. Okay, y'all. So we're discussing this perfect peace, but my mom turned me on to this book, so I have to give her a little reminder. Okay, so just
I'm
hold
gonna have to do
on
the
here.
same with mine. I
Hold
spent
on.
into it two
I'm
days
hold
ago.
on.
Mm.
I'm gonna mute you. I got me some tea here too, so we can discuss with the tea. So I hope all of y'all have your books ready. So in case you got to reference something, Kiana says 30 minutes of work left and I'm free. Okay, we will definitely be here still. Okay, okay. Just making sure you're on. Okay, bye, mama. She was like, okay, I know. I'm about to turn it on. My mom loves sprints, y'all. So I have to support my mother. Okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
um,
Here.
I actually did a dedicated video for this too as well. It's going to come out on
Oh,
Saturday for anybody that missed it. So and I want to do something that I want to add stuff in the thing here. Huh? Da-da-da. I'm just want to give another few minutes before we start talking about the book. Just
okay.
give an opportunity if anybody want to trudge on in.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no problem.
So how have you been today, Miss Jaleesa?
I've been okay for a Thursday.
Poor Thursday, huh?
uh, I got a message this morning from Kiana. She was asking about the package. I went to the front office. They told me they didn't get anything. So, of course, I'm like, oh, y'all, like, all y'all have to do is just one thing when it comes to the shipping company. I don't see why this particular time something can't get to me. It's weird. And then I had an abrupt meeting. I thought it was only going to be like 15 minutes. It ended up being an
Mhm.
hour. And
Don't you
now
love
I
that,
have
right?
another project to do tomorrow. I was like, this was not my plan. I was planning to do halfway nothing on Friday.
You said halfway
Shoot.
nothing.
But it's okay. It's okay. It keeps me busy. The day went by fast. hmm
I
I
can't
couldn't get
add.
home fast enough.
I'm
What you
trying to
say?
add people like Coda does to the description, but it seems like I can't add it while we're on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
You went into the studio and tried to update it?
Yeah. I guess because it's live streaming, so it's not technically a video yet. But I
Right.
was not able to like add it,
'Cause
like add people in the chat for it.
I know what you mean because I've seen them do it before. Did you go to the YouTube studio to try it first
Yeah,
and it
that's what
didn't
I
work?
did. Maybe I gotta go
Try to
into.
see Restream and see if you can update. You may have to go into the studio and then update the description there and then add people.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to do. See it
Okay.
through edit event. Oh, okay, I have to go. He's probably going in. No, can I do it?
Hey,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yolanda.
Oh, he's probably in the. Okay, I get it now. Okay, he probably is in the streaming service. You can't do it via YouTube because it's not technically a video yet.
Right, right.
Co-host. Oh no, it's not gonna. Hopefully, I'm spelling your channel name right. Reading beyond the book cover.
Yes, reading beyond the book cover.
Okay. And then I'm gonna just go ahead and put Kiana here. Okay. All right. Hopefully that saved it there. Normally I'm used to YouTube prompting me, but I don't get that while I'm on here. Okay. So let's see what happens there. Anyway, welcome everybody to the discussion for this book here, Perfect Peace. So, Jaleesa, I have a hardcover. You have a paperback. Okay.
Paperback. Mhm.
And then you were saying that your paperback has questions in the back?
Yes. It has
See, I
questions.
didn't have that. How many pages is your book?
300 and 341.
Hmm. See, that's what
341. If you don't count the questions in the back, it's 341.
Oh, did somebody cut mine out? No. Yeah, mine's exactly 341 as well, but then I don't have any questions. That's strange. Okay. Well, you never know. Hey, Solandria, how you doing, Miss Lady? Hello, hello, hello. Have you read this book, Perfect Peace? Let me know if anybody has read it in the chat here, okay? Now, as far as this book, really good book, 2010. Was this a debut? I don't think it's a debut.
No, he had some other books before this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they tell me of a home and sacred places. I've never read him before. But in general, this book, y'all already know, it's in the synopsis here, which, by the way, this will be a spoiler discussion. So if you have not read it, then we'll stay anyway. But we're going to just.
Yeah, to say anyway, because you may want to read it even after we talk about it. So
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. The book, I mean, pretty much it's a spoiler if you ask me right here for the synopsis right here, but it's still worth reading besides knowing that. I think that just gives you more insight into it. And I think that it will be really hard, truthfully, to even pick up this book like to give a synopsis that didn't have that main spoiler to it. So Shalondra says
the whole story is built around it.
Exactly. So in general, you want me to give a synopsis or you want to?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so in general, you have the Peace family, right? You have Imogene and you have Gus, Peace. And they're a poor Black family in kind of rural Arkansas in the 1940s. And they've been married for I don't even know how many years, but they have 6 kids, all boys. So very, very blessed to have all that muscle, right? Yeah. And then, but Imogene really wants a girl. She's just been like praying for it since what? Baby number 4, I think?
Right.
Praying for a little girl, right?
Maybe even baby number 1.
There you go. There you go. But she wants a little girl, and she's determined that this last child is going to be a little girl. Lo and behold, she has another boy. Now it's just her and the midwife, Miss Henrietta, in the room. So somehow, cuckoo, in Miss Imogene's head, she's like, oh, she's perfect. This is my little girl. I'm going to name her Perfect. And Miss Henrietta's like, what? Okay, but she's like, look, heifer.
Right, basically. It's a lot of heifers in this book.
Exactly. This is my little girl, and you're not going to tell anybody, okay? Because I'm going to blackmail you with some dirt, right? So she blackmails her. Miss Henrietta is so distraught that she has to basically lie to the family saying, this is a little girl. She goes and burns her medical bag like right outside, right after. I'm done with midwifery, right?
Right.
So there you go. Now you have this little boy who is a little girl and don't know anything because it's a child. Fast forward, the kid's about 8 when everything implodes. And truthfully, it's the day after the kid's 8th birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, so stuff happens anyway. Mama decides to come clean. She takes the girl. Oh my gosh.
It was bad, y'all. You just don't understand. That entire scene, my heart was beating so fast.
I know, girl. Well, I'll just do a little synopsis and we can talk about the different scenes. But so in general, the mom admits to the little girl, hey, or to a boy, the boy, hey, you're not a little girl, you're a boy. the whole kid's world implodes. They go back to the house, tell the family, show the privates, show and tell, and bam, you are now a boy from today forward. And now the whole family and everybody has to adjust, and it goes from there. But
Yeah.
this book was awesome. So what did you think? You already know my feelings.
Yeah, I rated a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
At first I was like, man, where are we going with this? Because it could have been a little bit shorter, honestly. But I'm glad that he took us through every part of the child's life and even like the family's life as they changed around him. Um, it's just there was so much. You got the colorism. You got what else was it? You got toxic masculinity. You got gender. You're talking about sexuality. I don't know if we want to throw in there. Was it sexual assault? Not
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Was it with Eva May? Oh yeah, it was. Oh, never mind. With the boys, I forgot about that. Yeah, that
And
was
even
crazy
with
too.
Caroline too, for her dad. Yep.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh,
Girl.
it's a lot, y'all. Like this book is not an easy read, but it's easy, but it's not easy. Like it has you hooked. You're gonna keep going, even when it gets hard. You're gonna want to know what happens next.
Yeah. And it goes through really quickly. Like this is
It
a
does.
book that I had audio, but I chose to sit and read most of it. Like it's one of those books that I wanted to just sit and digest. And it's not difficult reading. And the subject matter, I will say, I don't think that they went like hard in the paint on. You know how some like go like every little bad, horrible detail?
Yeah, it's
It
kind of
just
fade to
skirted it,
black.
but it was
Right.
enough.
We don't need. We can imagination. It is powerful. We didn't have to have too much.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it was a good book. I agree with you on
Yeah,
that one.
it's a really
I
good
got
book.
the vibe.
Anybody I tell about it, they're like, "What is it called again?" I'm like, "Are you gonna pick it up? Because don't keep asking me what it's called, and you're not gonna pick up the book. Now you gotta read it, experience it."
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. I don't know if this book was talked a whole lot about back when it came out, because like I said, I only heard about it, I think it was last year. I think that's when my mom told me about it. And I was like, what? I was kind of like loosely listening to her about it. And I ran across it. I was like, ooh, I gotta read
It's like we gotta pick this up. No, I bought it back in I want to say 2013 or 2014. I just had it on my shelf. I never picked it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I had it for a while, and I had started it way back when, but like I said, it was like a little bit difficult for me to get through knowing what was happening. So I stopped, and I was like, okay, I'll pick it up when I'm a little bit older.
Yeah.
So now I'm a little bit older, a little bit
Mhm.
more mature, and I this book here, I most likely will reread it again. I remember listening to a discussion on YouTube. I forgot the name of the book club, but they asked him like, "Why didn't your book get picked up by Oprah?" You know, you would think a book like this at that time, and because we're talking about this stuff now and it's normal, but like back in 2010, nobody was talking about gender and sexuality and all that stuff. Not to this
This
extent.
would have been a great movie.
Right. I think that they were working on that, but I'm not really sure if they
Yeah.
like circled back and
Yeah.
tried to do it again.
It
But
is
yeah.
not based on a true story, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
we know of. You never know.
Right.
Things back in the day, they don't talk about a lot of stuff.
They don't talk about it. And I would imagine that this book was like one of those is it called a gateway? I guess you can call it gateway for some people to discuss when if it actually happened to them.
Yep.
That's the thing.
I can see
So
that, a catalyst. Yep.
right. I like
Yeah.
that word better. Not gateway. That's like drugs. So we
Oh
gonna
no,
say
but yeah,
catalyst.
yeah, it's fiction, but it definitely hits home. It kind of reads like you could think that maybe it could happen. Just the scenario is just so wild for me just to
Mm-hmm.
know about it. So in general what the main topic is or what the book surrounds. But I think it's so much more than just that of what happened to this little boy. I like that you get delved into the entire family and everybody.
Right.
Like
Right.
that third person, what do they call it? Third person omnipresent. Is that what it's called? The
Right. Third
POV?
person omniscient. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you're
omniscient.
there. You know everything that's happening, but
Yeah.
they don't know. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that annoys me in books. This book was so fitting. I love the idea because it was just a, unique perspective of
Mm-hmm.
hearing and what's going on in everybody's mind, even if it's small, so
Right.
I do like that. I think it was well done in that respect. Um, I think sometimes when you have a subject matter like this that's so shocking, I think some things are forgiven, even if they don't like, if they're plot holes and things like that.
Right.
So yeah, but I thought it was well done and quick read as far as with, if you can get through the material there.
Exactly. It didn't feel like 341 pages at all.
Yeah.
I think I would have finished it in one day, honestly, if I didn't have to work.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, they work. Oh my god! And it's a book that this is a big compliment from me. The audio book is just as good as the physical book because usually both of them aren't good. So
Yeah.
if y'all try them both.
Yeah, I like the little bitty country accents type thing. I think the audiobook was really well. Although I do think that, I don't know, I find sometimes with serious subject matter, even though I appreciate having an audio, and I say this all the time, I prefer, like for all my books, I like to at least try to have an audio. Do I always? No. And I don't always use it even if I do have access. But for real serious discussion books, I really do like the idea of taking that time to sit and read it. But yeah, the audio was pretty cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it was good.
Quickly.
My only complaint was that he wasn't singing the songs right. That's all. Okay,
That's true.
Coming from a Black American, grew up in the Baptist church. Some songs he was trying to sing them, and they sounded whack. But that's it.
Okay, like remember when Woody was preaching? I got Baptist preacher in there a little bit.
Yeah,
I think they were on point with some and not others.
Right. I was like, where you from? Because that ain't it. That ain't
it. Yeah, whenever I got to parts like that, I tried to find the parts in the audio, which slowed me down because I wanted to be like, how are they saying this?
Right.
Okay, I got some discussion questions. Did you have anything specific you wanted, or you want me to? Okay.
No.
Okay, y'all. So for anybody in the chat, hi Amal, by the way. For anybody in the chat, if y'all have something you want to say about this book, feel free to go ahead and type it in, okay? Or if you're in the chat and you're interested in talking about it here, let me know, okay? Okay, so first question. I didn't write out like tons, but I, as I saw things fit. I felt those discussion questions that you sent me from the back of the book. I felt like I was going back to school and critical thinking a bit. And I was like, let's do a variation.
Yeah, let's do something a little bit different.
But it was some good things that I hadn't thought of. So in my head, it was really good to think about. Okay, so first question, right? So back in the day in childbirth, that was considered women's business. You know how men weren't really allowed in the room, right?
Right.
So the only people that really know what's going on in the birthing suite are the ladies. So what do you think of Imogene blackmailing Henrietta to tell her secret if she didn't say she had a girl? And did you think that was breaking women's code?
Oh, so I think about
First, let's say what Miss Henrietta's secret was, right? Okay, so we know Miss Imogene's secret, right? Which, by the way, in the book, they didn't kind of delve more into that. I was thinking that would come out. But Henrietta's secret was that Miss Henrietta and her sister were both pregnant at the same time. Miss Henrietta had a stillborn child. Her sister died in childbirth. So Miss Henrietta's sister was married to basically an a-hole preacher that didn't really want a kid and definitely didn't want a girl child, which is what happened. So since it was like within a few days of each other and nobody knew that Henrietta's child had died, what she did was she laid her dead baby next to her sister and said that the baby had died. And she took her sister's baby and raised it as her own. So that's the secret that Miss Imogene was going to try to say. I'm going to let everybody know that ain't your baby. So that's the secret there, okay? But oh yeah. So what do you think of her blackmailing her? And did you think she was breaking women's code?
I mean, yeah. She was. The thing is, I never considered women's code. Right. She was calling they was cussing each other out in that room. I was like, it's not around the baby. Not around the baby.
Hostile.
I never really consider women's code. I'm always thinking about right and wrong when it comes to things, But at the same time, I guess, yes, she was breaking women's code. But at the same time, she's wanted a girl for so long, And it's like, that's your child, so you can do what you want to with it. That's the thing about this book. It's kind of not necessarily proving, but it's making a point that you aren't a girl or a boy until somebody sort of kind of makes you into one in a way. So she made herself a girl, and
Yeah.
that's her business. So, but at the same time, I really don't feel like she even had to blackmail Henrietta. If you think about it, she doesn't have to do all of that.
Yeah, but
She
Miss
could have.
Henrietta wasn't gonna go along with it.
Right. Well, I mean, she kind of don't have a choice though. Now that she knows that somebody knows her secret, which we still don't know how she knew that secret.
True. See, and
You
that's the
know?
thing. When you have these in a book with that's so good and everything else, little plot holes like that don't bug me as much. Other books, I'd be
Mhm.
like, plot hole, 4 star.
Oh, right. No. Once they said that she knew, I was like, she found out from somebody because it's a
Yeah.
small town, so somebody was talking.
See,
But then,
somebody already broke women's code then. See?
right, so it's already happening. So it's like, might as well just keep on going.
Mm.
Just keep on going. But yeah, I don't know. Like that was hard for me to pick a side because I sympathize
Mhm.
with what's her name, Imogene,
Uh-huh.
but at the same time I'm with Henrietta. It's like, how can I keep the secret when eventually it's going to get out that that is not a girl?
Hey, Miss Kiana. Hello.
Hey,
Hello, hey.
I'm
But on that point,
rearranging books,
huh?
please. I'm rearranging books, so ignore that.
Oh, that's fine.
Girl, you even got books. You see any books here? You are good.
I'm gonna go get
Just
my
trying to.
stand. Hold on.
Okay. We're just on the first question about
Okay.
is was Imogene breaking women's code by blackmailing Miss Henrietta into saying it was a girl instead of a boy?
I don't know. I don't think.
See, I'm thinking that only women are in the birthing suite. If anything, I feel
Uh
like
huh.
she is undermining Miss Henrietta's integrity because if this was ever to get out, then
Hmm.
where does that leave her as being this midwife
Yeah, with
trust?
her
But she
being a
hung
bit.
up her bag right after. So,
Yeah. I never really would think about women code like this, but maybe so.
well,
Maybe
I say
so.
women's codes because birthing and,
Uh
and,
huh.
and midwifery and having babies and stuff, men are outside. They go in and whatever the women present is what they're given, so it's women's work in that
I
room.
did think
So,
that I think that she could. I forgot the lady's name, the midwife. I forgot her name.
Henrietta.
But I think she should have been like, okay, well, tell my secret. Who cares? Like, I think she had when she explained herself. I think she had valid enough reason that I wouldn't care if that got out into the community. That
Mhm.
I was taking care of my sister's baby. I wouldn't care about that. So
Yeah.
I would be like, right is right, and what you're doing is wrong. So if you got to tell my business, then tell it because I'm not doing this.
See, at the end of the book, she said that she was like, now that I mean, I don't know, did they? I don't think they said how old the baby Trish, how old
Was
that
she
kid
even
was.
around? Like they didn't even talk about her.
No.
Mm-mm.
Like,
Nah, see, I don't even know how old they were. So I mean, to me, if it was like a baby, then
mm-hmm.
maybe it would be an issue. But if it's an older kid, but at the same time, you know how they were saying that, the guy was lamenting about how he never had a kid and all this other stuff.
She wasn't that worried.
So, and then he was the preacher. So I just think they were just kind of like, oh,
He wasn't that worried, and then he ended up getting married again. So he
yeah,
just
but
Mhm.
then he never had a kid either. So I think that's why she was like, oh no. So I don't know. You know how it is in these little small
that's
towns.
she put making it too much in her about her. That's his
Exactly.
that's his karma.
I just think that the fact that she hung up like they didn't say what she was doing in the meantime, but you know how she basically gave up midwifery after that?
Hmm.
Right.
But what
She
was she
started sewing.
doing? Yeah, but that was like later because she didn't open the shop until like kids were grown, almost grown, like in the teens and stuff, is when
Mhm.
she opened
I
up the
think she
shop and
probably
was
was
able to
doing
do it.
like little sewing on the side for people,
Yeah.
and probably just didn't have a job.
Yeah, she took that personal though, that she gave up a whole career, burned her medical bag like immediately. Like I didn't expect
I
that.
was a lie now. I can't
That's
do it
crazy.
anymore.
I'm just trying to figure out how. I mean, it's just wild to me that she was able to keep it up for so long. I just,
Yes.
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 it's just so
Yeah.
strange.
It was weird though.
I
Like
was
think
just
about
like,
the
any
father. Okay.
minute, I was just like, something's gonna happen. I mean,
Right.
kids be
The
doing
entire
weird stuff
time.
sometimes. Like,
That's why she wouldn't allow the boys to be alone with
yeah,
the girl. But I was thinking something with dang Eva May was gonna come out. Like I'm like, okay, this about to be it. This about to be it.
but not even. Not even, yeah, I don't know. That was crazy
Yeah,
to me. That she,
yeah, I'm
even that
surprised.
was the little friend, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah. A
She
little
was a
bit.
That
fan, all right.
Even they were
well, I think that
playing
she
house
was.
house.
I
I
think
ain't never
that
played house
something.
like that. I'm sorry. I have never played house like that.
Well, I think something was going on in her, you know,
That's what I
home
thought too.
because when a kid is when a kid is playing like that, it's because they've been exposed to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I don't really think it's a such thing as like a kid fast. I think it's because they were exposed to something prematurely that they should not have been exposed to, and that's why they're doing
Well,
those
kids have
behaviors.
an innate, I think people in general have an innate curiosity. And she did say
Uh-huh.
she saw her mama and daddy,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know if somebody taught her something, intentional or
Well,
if she
she
just
was paying
saw it was
attention,
like,
but they was doing stuff around her that
mm-hmm.
then they shouldn't have been doing, maybe.
Or
So,
waking up. She peeping through
yeah,
doors to her
or
brother.
maybe they had a space issue, but still, they should have made sure she was asleep or something. I don't know.
But think about it though. I mean, I don't know. Have you been to the country before and seen like
Uh,
small shack houses? They're
Yeah.
very small.
Yeah. It was
Very
a
little. My
yeah.
two-bedroom house.
mother and father, not my mother and father, my mother grew up in a house, very tiny
She
house.
should
It was
wait. I don't
9
know. They need to wait till
It's
she go to school
it's
or something.
hard. It's hard to avoid the noise. You're gonna hear everything.
Yeah, that's
She
crazy.
go underneath the
That's,
house like she was. It seems like that's what
oh
a
my
secure
god.
spot.
I was like, what the heck kind of game?
I
The
thought
patriarchy.
after Perfect became Paul, I thought something was going to implode, but she was like, "Oh no, it's okay."
Yeah.
And like I knew immediately when she said, "Let's go underneath the house," I was like, "I know what's coming. I already know because kids get curious. I knew it was going to be like, let me see your thing, because that's what they
Right,
do."
right, right, right.
I didn't think she was going to do a little bit more in depth, but I sure knew she was
I
going to be
just,
saying, "Let me take a look at it."
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
either way,
That's
It
wild.
was a lot.
something else. It was
It
a
was a
lot.
lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah,
I was
that was
just
kind of
like,
sad.
what is
Okay,
going
I got
on
another
here?
question. You ready for another question?
Yes.
Oh well, hold on.
Hmm.
Let me see. I have a list of questions. They're not necessarily in order. Let me see. We were already talking about Eva May, so we already talked about her. So let me just put that quick check mark by there. Okay. Um, for Imogene, right? Okay, Mama. So let's just talk about in general. What do you think about Mama? Then I'll ask this other question later. What do you think about her just as a person?
She need therapy. Short and sweet, straight to the point. She need therapy. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like her thought process is ass backwards. Why does she think that her having a girl would be something that would kind of, I guess, make up for her childhood with her mother? It was weird. I maybe because I don't think like that. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. But it's almost as if she really wanted a girl so she can show her mother, I can make a baby that's pretty. Just like you did, I guess, with her two sisters. Because we didn't talk about the mother. The mother has three daughters total. So it's I don't forgot the names of the other sisters, but they could pass for white.
Pearly and Gracie.
Pearly,
Pearly and Gracie.
Pearly and Gracie. So Pearly and Gracie, they could pass for white. And mind you, the mother is very dark. But when she has Eva May, not Eva May, Emma Jean comes out looking basically just like her, which is very dark. And so she hates her so much that she treats her as if she's not even her own child. And so Emma Jean growing up like that, it's like she's almost chasing this I don't know, the feeling of having to, what is the word I'm looking for? Like pleasing her mother.
Validation.
There's no way you can please your mother because she don't like you. It don't matter what you do.
See, here's the thing about the
Now,
mama.
was
I
she
think
abusive just to her, or was she abusive to the just to her?
just to
Just
her.
her.
She
Just
favors the other
Imogene.
girls with this whole colorism aspect. But
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing about the mama May Ellen, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think the mom put all her validation, and it's the whole colorism aspect, which we know where that stems from, right? But I
Right.
think the mom put so much validation in who she was in these men in her life that left her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that she put the whole colorism aspect as well as these men and favoring her and thinking, okay, they left me, so they didn't favor me. So I think when she had a daughter that just looked like her, I think she saw herself in Eva May, not just the color, but in just her, because they said she looked like her mom. And I,
Right.
not Eva May, Emma Jean. And
Imogene.
I think that she hated herself because these men rejected her, so she rejected her daughter.
Daughter that looked just like her.
Exactly. And so
All
then you have
internalized and
Jean
stuff.
that's trying to recreate her childhood that she never had
That's crazy to
with.
me. But that reminds me though. So in the book, maybe I glossed over it. Do they explain exactly why she wanted to get married to Gus? Like, was he light skinned, and that's why she thought she would have children that were
I
pleasing
don't.
to her mother?
No, they said that her mama told her because she's dark, how they, talking about, you can't be dark and find love. So her mom was like, and her sisters too were talking about basically you're ugly, you need to find a way to support yourself. And she was like, I want to be a dancer. And they were like, no, be a hairdresser, no. And they were like, no, the best you need to do is find a man that can support you if they'll have you. Because remember, the mom never had a man that stayed. So they basically kind of found her, told her to go towards Gus because he's a provider. And
He
she
was
was
a
like,
hard
well,
worker.
as long as you work and take care of me, because he
Right.
said, you need to provide me a son. And she said, you need to always work. And that was their agreement.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
I
think that
guess
was
now
it.
that we talk about that, then that means that for me, I feel like Imogene was very manipulative. To anybody that's in her life, she's just using everybody.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm
Yeah.
done. Going to Kiana.
Yeah. No. Um.
Hey,
oof,
mama.
yeah. Yeah, she did need some help, but they didn't back then. They didn't believe in that, and then some people who are very religious now don't believe in like therapy and stuff
Right.
like that.
Right. Take it
So
to the Lord.
that yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, you know, but
She needs the help.
she
And this was
definitely
definitely
needed
back in
some
the day
help.
when they didn't have that available for sure.
Right.
Yeah. But what she didn't have what options did she have? She had to marry somebody who was going to take care of her, and
Right.
she married who and he did. He took care. He did.
He didn't know what else to
He
do.
wasn't the smartest guy, and they say that he knows
She's
he
not
wasn't the
either.
smartest
So,
guy, but he
He
took care of her, and you know, so
yeah, I
you
think
know,
she had PTSD from her childhood, and it played out in her life, and definitely played out with Perfect. So,
I'll be right back. I gotta turn my computer off. I'll be right back, but I'm still here. I mean,
okay.
go on in.
Let's see. Oh, so my question here was: is Imogene suffering from PTSD from suffering so much after having, for one, all the boys and one and a girl so badly from having one, or was it the trauma from her childhood of feeling like she wasn't loved by her mom? I think it was probably a combination of both, though.
Right. I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a combination of both. And
Yeah.
before you know it, sis had a nervous breakdown. So
Yeah, I think she wanted to have like a mini me too. It's kind of like a do over.
right.
But I also feel like, okay, not only is she recreating her childhood with Perfect, but even when Perfect became Paul, she still was kind of doting on her. I mean, granted, he is the baby, my baby this. I get it, regardless of gender. But she still favored him, and it's the idea of still trying to get, I mean, my secret imploded, so I can't go around with bows and stuff like that and
Right.
barrettes in the hair, but still I'm a show favoritism and have him stand out all the time,
Right. And that
So
put
yeah.
an even bigger target on his back. He already had a target on his back
Mhm.
from people in the town. But then now you in the house and you got a target on his back still.
Yep.
Because now the other children are like, okay, so why he get to go to school?
Yep.
Why he get to get this, that, and the other, or knew this, that, and the other? It's like nothing really, it changed, but nothing really changed with the family dynamics as far as the favoritism. So she still wasn't, even, not even May, Emma Jean,
Mm.
she don't think, like, at all.
And I don't feel like she until the end. So what happens is you have Imogene, right? Okay, her secret imploded. She had no choice but to tell her, right? So she was just like, okay, I'm sorry. Let's just basically go on. Now you're a boy, right?
Right.
But I don't feel like she was super remorseful. It wasn't until she literally at the end she wound up having like a nervous breakdown and drowning herself. It wasn't until the end that she really truthfully expressed remorse.
Right.
Because I feel like there's this thing, I don't know, I recognize this with my family sometimes, right? And I don't know if it's old school mentality in Black families, right? Because, life moves on. There's a lot of trauma that happens from Black history, back in the day. And there's still trauma in reality of still being Black today, living life and having to just suck up some things that are unfair, right? And move on. I mean, I think Black people are very resilient because you just take a licking and you keep on ticking. Your world doesn't end. I've seen other people that their world just end and they just stop because things didn't go their way.
Right.
Not everybody has that privilege for it. But I feel like with the mom, she kind of embraced that. Oh, okay, well, I did this thing. Damn, we don't need to got to talk about it anymore. I don't need to feel bad about myself. Let's just move on.
Mm-hmm. It's like, no, what you did was major.
Okay, I'm still here. I'm just cooking.
She didn't tell them, what it means to be a boy. She and her reasoning behind not telling him is that she's a woman, so she can't tell him how to be a boy. So then she just throws the child into the arms of her brother. I'm going saying her. Paul. She threw Paul into the hands of his brothers and his father, which I feel like was a really big mistake because it's almost like they want to beat the girl out of him. But it's like he never really had a girl in him. He was just kind of taught to be feminine.
Who he was, yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And they were trying to beat it out of him. And it's like, he's been in that body for so long, it's going to be difficult for you to try to change him. Like, just let him be.
Yeah.
Let him be. But you're right. Like, Imogene, there was no accountability until she lost her mind.
Yes.
That's it. That's wild. No sorry.
I mean, she said, I'm sorry, but it was like, dang, I'm sorry. Okay, let's move on.
It's like, no, you need to fix this.
Exactly.
She said she was sorry to shut up them voices in her head.
Yeah, well, that's at the end. Yeah, but I'm saying even before when she said, I'm sorry, it was like a gruff, like, I'm sorry, let's move on. Dang, don't make me feel any worse than I already do. Like, you don't want to talk about it. It's just like, let's move past. I made a mistake. Let's move past it and keep going. Let's take a minute and lament that you didn't screw somebody else's life up. Like, okay, so during the reveal, y'all, I'm just recapping a little bit. During the reveal, okay, so what happened is she thought the secret was about to be told, right? So what she did was after dinner, she took Perfect out into the woods and basically said, hey, you're never a girl, you're a boy. And made Perfect take off all her clothes and put on some overalls, and now you're a boy. And they literally chopped off the baby's hair. The kids ate. And then she marched him still crying back to the house and told the family when they're like, yeah, just basically stood him in front of the family and said, hey, look, he is a boy, not a girl. This is what I did. Okay, it's done with. And the kids just sitting there crying, and then the family don't believe it. So they make him basically get butt friggin' naked in front of our family to see himself.
Necessary.
Yeah. And then Gus beat her down a little bit, but I'm telling you, I am not for a man beating a woman, but he should have beat her down some more. I'm just being real and honest.
You don't think it was enough that she got burned in the kitchen? I think that was enough.
Well, that was after the fact. That wasn't Gus's doing. That was the Lord. I'm talking about Gus.
Yeah, Gus.
He gotta choke a person. And he didn't choke her enough.
He didn't have it in him
Well,
to do
after
that.
that, he told him she had to sleep on the floor. So they switched spots. He was like, you know what? I'm about to sleep on the bed. You sleep on the floor. I don't want to talk to you.
No.
But I think he almost killed her. He would have killed her if the boys weren't there to
I
stop
was
him.
done with Gus on the fact that he didn't
He didn't what?
What?
he didn't face the nation.
He didn't face the what?
He didn't please her
Oh.
in that way. He didn't please her orally.
Oh yeah, I remember that part too. That's another thing. So it's almost like because they separate everybody so much, nobody really knows about the opposite sex at all. It's like, it's weird. Well, it's weird to me only because now we live in a day and age where everybody knows about everything. But back then it's like, okay, well, that's woman's business. I ain't got to know about it. It's like, but you want to sleep with
He
me,
didn't
but
even
you don't
look
know
at
how my
her,
body
though.
operates.
Yeah,
He could have avoided all of this if he knew how a woman's body operates. But no, now you got 7 kids that don't know how you got here.
Yeah, now I was going to talk about that later, but yeah, their intimacy was a bit off, but we'll talk about that one a little bit.
Okay,
but yes,
put a
I
pin in it.
completely agree with you on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But but I'm just saying, like, he beat her down a bit, and maybe because it was a quick scene, I just think it wasn't enough. But maybe it was because she did have the marks, and Arthur Lee had to pick her up. But I just felt it wasn't enough.
Like, you didn't learn your lesson. I'm about to beat you again.
He should have stomped her that day, and then she should have had another beat down. Like, she should have had a few. I ain't gonna lie. She should have had a few.
So she won't forget
beat downs, but it wasn't in Gus because I think Gus
he's so sweet.
Was a bit I don't want to say autistic, maybe timid, but he just like how well, we'll go over the sons, but I just think that he was, I don't know, maybe he was just slow. I just felt like something was lacking mentally.
Definitely.
Like the first son.
And you think about the way that he was living. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He didn't have the opportunity to, though. You think about it, how his father was like, well, we need you in the fields or whatever. Yeah. You're not good at school anyway, so you just stay home and help with the farm.
He probably lacks social skills. A lot of the people do. Like, we're coming from more of a privileged perspective of the world is big. Like, we can go all these different places. Back then, people's worlds were like small. Like, even this little community, I guarantee you there was some inbreeding and stuff in there because it was it was a small community. People knew each other, and you're a man. In the book, it talked about like gender roles. Like, men, your job is to work. Like, sitting there crying and doing whatever and being sensitive, there's
no room for it. You can't.
There's no room for it. Yeah. So he just worked, and so he didn't have social skills, and that's why him and Imogene had this. Hey, you work to support me, and I'll cook and feed you, and I'll give you a son. That was their agreement. Mm-hmm. It wasn't love marriage,
No,
so,
it's convenience.
Yep, that's how it worked. Yep.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Because he probably had to marry who was going to be with him too. So
right, because he wasn't maybe a
he
catch.
probably didn't have that many options either.
That's true. That's true.
Wait, hold on.
I need you. You need me. Come on, let's get married.
So that brings me to this question here. I got a few Imogene questions. I must have been in my Imogene era. Okay, I will ask this one. So what do you think of Imogene and Gus's intimacy? I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but yeah.
Their intimacy.
I mean, I don't, and that probably wasn't just something for him. That probably was a lot of men who didn't do that. And, they don't really care about a woman's, pleasure.
See, that was just like one little statement. I didn't think too much of it because the fact that these folks have 7 kids, that he can't even see her bare breast when she's breastfeeding the kid.
Right. He's like,
and it says that they don't see each other naked. And I'm like,
what? How is that possible?
Yeah.
That's probably just how it was.
To do everything. And that was their intimacy to me. It was like, okay, for her, not even intimacy. Sex for her is just, okay, I want to have a baby. That's it. Like, I don't think she really enjoyed it. And she maybe did before she got married to him. But she's, thinking to herself, I'm in a predicament where I'm married to this man. We agreed that, he take care of me. I'll give him a son. I'll just deal with the bad sex. It's not a big deal. And then on the other hand, you got...
But back then, like I said, they didn't really care about your pleasure. It wasn't about that. It was
because they don't know our anatomy back then. They were just kind of like, well, I know you're a girl, and that's it. It don't go any further than I know you are a girl or I know you are a woman.
Well, you forget that they're religious. So the community,
Right.
like religious community, is you provide for your man in that arena. It doesn't say, hey, you got to enjoy it.
exactly. It's not about
so you may have some people like what's their faces? Fast Girl, Eva May, her mommy and daddy be doing whatever. So, they are ahead of their times, So, I just thought that they were definitely kind of lacking in that respect. So
yeah, they didn't really love each other.
Yeah. And then when it comes to Imogene, I have a question that says she was looking for love and acceptance. I remember when she was younger, okay, she's the darker of the family or whatever. I thought it was so crazy when she asked her sisters, do you think I'm pretty? And they said no, like flat out. And then when she asked, what about, they were like, you look just like mama. And they were like, she said, you think mama's pretty? And they were like,
but they was raised in that same kind of environment. So
but it says, okay, so Imogene is looking for love and acceptance and, asks people who reject her if she's pretty. And so when her dad came, remember her dad was like, oh, you so pretty. Now she has said a few times in the book, nobody ever said I'm pretty, but that's not true. Her dad, when he came to visit her, said, you're a pretty thing. You look just like your people. But she rejected him for validation from her mama who raised her, which I get it. You always want validation from the people that you're closest to, but do you think that makes the huge difference in her life? The fact that she rejected her dad in favor of her mom, who still never loved her, and how that plays out in her relationships with other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like if she were to go with her father, she would have had a better life.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that mother was abusive, y'all. We skipped the part where she got hit in the head with a cast iron skillet.
Oh my God.
That happened right at the beginning. Go ahead and tell it.
And then left a scar on her head. All she asked for was a birthday.
It was her 8th birthday.
Mm-hmm. And her mother said, what you want a birthday for? And then before you know it, she hit her upside the head with the cast iron skillet. And the girl, she told her to go outside and get some eggs or something. And she passed out before she even could go and collect the eggs. It's crazy. Like
and her mom was like, "Stop playing. Get up and go to get up and go get
them eggs." Like just abusive. Wow.
Ma'am.
I would have ran away. Not gonna lie. I wouldn't even care where I went. You're not gonna hit me with a cast iron skillet. No, either that or somebody's gonna die tonight. I think I may would have poisoned somebody if I had enough sense to. Because a cast iron is heavy. If y'all don't know what a cast iron feel like, a real one, that thing is heavy. She could have killed the child, and I'm pretty sure she wouldn't even care.
She didn't even care.
No, and it's always going to be her fault. Even if she didn't do anything to ask a question, she always deserved it.
Yeah.
That's how her
mother what I thought was interesting about the 8th? Okay, so on her 8th birthday is when her mama hit her with the skillet. She asked for a party for the first time in her life, and her mama hit her with the skillet. So that's when she truly realized mama don't love me, ain't gonna ever want anything to do with me, right? Mm-hmm. Then the mama died, the day before or whatever, on Perfect's birthday, 8th birthday. Mm-hmm. And then the day after, Perfect's world completely implodes. So that 8th birthday, I thought was pretty poignant. That's kind of around the time period where
everything changes. Yeah, one of the interviews that I watched with Dr. Daniel Black, he did mention that the number 7, I think, is an important number because it's the number of perfection in the Bible. So the number 7 always not repeats, but it's like a trope in the book that happens. So yeah, I know it's interesting. You got the 7 children, then you got the 7th birthday, not 7th birthday, but you're 7 years old before your 8th birthday. That all that stuff is happening.
So you no longer become perfect. So if 7's perfect, once you determine 8, you're no longer. Oh,
so he put it throughout the book. Mm-hmm. At first I didn't get it. I was like, "What is number 7? It's not." We only see it once. It's 7 children. He's like, no, with the birthdays as well. That's why it's like the way that it is. So yeah, every time something happens, 8. it changes up.
I didn't even think of that. Okay. Let's see.
And he said the names mean something too. I'll have to go back and look, but each child's name has a meaning.
Oh yeah, I want to go over each of them. I thought they were pretty cool too.
Yeah.
What did you think about when Imogene told her mama off when she came to the house?
She didn't give her enough.
Me too. That's why I said she didn't give her enough for her mouth. And she should have rocked her jaw.
She deserved some more.
Exactly.
And she should have went and saw her while she was sick and gave her some more.
Yes, she should have. She should have.
But she didn't. I don't know why she didn't though. It's like this lady, she can't get up and do anything now. She can't hit you like she did in the past. So why wouldn't you go and give her a piece of your mind? Let her know how she made you feel growing up. She maybe wouldn't have cared, but still she gonna have to listen because she can't go nowhere. But she didn't take the opportunity.
She's gonna have to listen.
Yeah, I agree on that one.
Throw it up, Darian.
I didn't understand it. And I didn't understand why the sisters didn't go into detail as to why she should actually go and see the mother. All they kept saying is, oh, you don't want to have hatred on your spirit or something like that.
Like, Neil, wasn't y'all there?
Right. Like, do you see me get my butt beat every single day?
That's the same kind of people who be like, oh, but that's family. No, if your family is harmful to you, you can cut them off.
Yeah. I mean, no, I agree. I hear that all the time when people talk about you shouldn't have hatred in your heart. You should be the bigger person. Sometimes being the bigger person is just keeping my opinions to myself and stay in my own darn house. Right. I don't need to give up. I feel like when somebody does bad things to you and you go to their deathbed so they can apologize and you forgive them, I don't need. No, I'm not trying to assuage them so they can go into heaven with a clear conscience that I forgave them. No, I hate you, and you take that to your grave. How about that?
I want you to know I don't like you.
Yeah. It reminds me of like this guy that I dated that screwed me over when I was younger, right? Yeah, tangent here, but it screwed me over when I was younger. Years later, after I have all of this trauma that I have created that has completely shaped who and why I date folks because of that one man, I recognize that. And he sends me an email talking about how he was going through some issues with his dad and could I forgive him? I deleted that email. For one, I didn't see I'm sorry. It was like, oh, well, I was thinking I should apologize. I didn't see I'm sorry. I saw I was thinking I should apologize. I was like, I am not trying to make you feel better about yourself. Delete.
Right. They want you to say, I forgive you. No.
Nah, we don't need no forgiveness here. Okay, you figure it out on your own. Closure sometimes means not getting it from other people.
Right.
So, no.
Y'all
I'm just rattling off my questions. Y'all have any questions? Oh, okay.
No, because if it were me, I ramble. So you got to keep me on task.
Oh no, you're good. I wrote down some questions. I would say when I got towards the bottom third, I stopped asking questions. As you can see, there was a lot I wrote down about Eva Mack.
Well, one of your questions, are you asking about how we feel about that one character? What's his name? Sugar Baby? I think that's his name.
Oh no!
You didn't ask about that? Okay, that was one of my favorite characters, y'all. Sugar Baby.
Yeah.
The Sugar Baby, the drunkard. I don't care if he's an alcoholic. He's prophetic. He's nice. He's sweet. He knew perfect wasn't perfect before anybody else did.
You said that baby ain't right. That baby ain't right.
Ain't right.
Took him out of church. I'm telling the
Something ain't right about that. Everybody's like, oh, don't listen to him. He's an alcoholic. He don't know nothing. He know more than y'all do. Okay. And I liked how he saved. I guess you could say he saved. He saved and protected Perfect when Perfect was assaulted by those boys. Mm-hmm. Like that's wild. And he's the only person that knew what actually happened.
He was the savior of the book, I think.
I love me some Sugar Baby. We didn't have enough Sugar Baby. Give me some.
There you go. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. I thought he was good. You know what? Okay, so at one point in the book, Perfect is now Paul, right? Paul is assaulted. Very unfortunate, but some boys jump him and beat him up and assault him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Sugar Baby stops it. He makes some noise. The boys run off or whatever, right? And so later on, I like when he brought him home. And then Gus go out with his gun. I wish he would have found some folks, but that's okay. I don't want him to go to jail, right?
They got their due.
Yeah, they got their due. But I appreciated that when he encountered Sugar Baby, because remember, Sugar Baby's like the town drunk, crazy dude, right? To everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated that he automatically gave Sugar Baby benefit of the doubt because I was thinking, my heart was beating. I'm like, please don't let this man think Sugar Baby. Because he's the town drunk, you know, you can't really put it past people. He stays up in the woods, all this other stuff.
Right.
So I appreciated that he wasn't immediately. Gus gave him the benefit of the doubt, and they had like a man time, you know, giving him proof, you know, all that stuff. So
I like that.
Yeah, really interesting.
And I think that was the only time, well, not the only time, but like one of the most recent times that Sugar Baby was actually a little bit sober. So that's maybe why he was like, okay, you all right.
Yep. He's like, you saw who did this to my boy? Yep.
It was so hard to read.
Yeah. Speaking of communal time, right? So what do you think of the cleansing that Gus and Bartimus does every year with the rains?
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I did too.
Beautiful. I'm trying to tear up now, but it's sad and upsetting that a man can't be free to cry. He has to wait until it rains to do it.
Yeah. But also,
it's crazy.
Okay, sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No, I just think that it's not even just the crying. It's just that you, as people, as adults, but especially as men, there's a lot that's on your soul that you have, right? That you encounter on a day. Like, look at what goes on, police brutality, all that stuff, okay? Right. This book didn't get really, I mean, it discussed racism, but it didn't really get into that of like what their predicament in life was there. But there are poor people in rural Arkansas in the 1940s and 50s. Life is hard, okay? Yeah. It's not just making a living, but it's a lot of the other things that you got to do and you have to stomach just to be a person in this world. And you have a black man trying to raise a whole family, including 7 boys, you know? That's a lot. So there's a lot on your soul that I think that purging allowed him that one time a year in a productive manner to just kind of release that. And I just thought that was awesome. And then how he taught Bartimus to do it, but then also when they made all those references that when other people heard him, they would sit on their porch and it was almost like they had their quiet cleansing through him as well. It was like, it was him saying kind of like, it's okay to do that, to live another year. I just thought that was awesome. I just thought that was like, oh, I want to do that.
Frustration. Anytime he wanted to scream, he can wait until then to do it. Yep. And be upset. He can go and punch this guy all he wants to.
Very
the only thing they actually talked about as far as like the not necessarily, well, I guess you can say racism that they experienced is when they were selling anything to the white folks in town. Because they would make it where they would buy from them, but it'd be like for a fraction of the amount. And a lot of say, oh, like whatever you brought in, it's only worth so much. Yeah. And you can't really argue because if you do, then they're going to.
Yeah, you basically get cheated. Yeah. So
you said just swallow it and keep on going.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting how Gus's grandfather was basically centering on you need to be self-sufficient. Because, you know, he was probably back in the slave days. So he was like, you know, you need to be self-sufficient from, you know, whites and stuff because they'll cheat you. And a man has to make his own living through farming. But then Gus's dad went to be a picking cotton for, like he basically turned against his dad's teaching. But then Gus went ahead with his own farming and picked up his granddad's teaching of I'm going to be self-sufficient. I mean, he's raising progressive 8 boys or 7 boys. So he's like, I'm teaching them what my granddad taught me so that they aren't beholden to anybody. So I thought that was really cool.
That's good.
Yeah, I thought the cleansing was a really cool idea up in there. I thought that was really good. Let's see, what do I have here?
Do you have any questions about Saul, the one that went off to school?
Well, I'm trying to see if there's any other questions before we talk about specifically each character.
Trying to think what else happened in the book.
How about the traumatizing reveal? I know we said but I'm just like, whew, that was crazy because you had the reveal like at the house, but then having to go into the community. Oh my gosh. Can y'all imagine the traumatizing for that child?
Everybody's looking at me now because at first Perfect slash Paul was used to getting attention, but it was like a positive attention. Oh, look, she's so pretty. Her hair is pretty. She got pretty eyes. Da 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 da. But then it's like now you done cut off all our ponytails, and you done took the dresses and bows away, and put Paul inside. Well, now Paul inside of some overalls, and it's like, here, be a boy. And everybody's looking at you now like, so what's going on? Are you funny? Because for whatever reason, people always assume that because you are a certain sex, that your sexuality is going to be a certain way. So they're thinking that because he was raised as a boy, that he's going to like, not boy, but raised as a girl, he's going to end up liking boys. So that comes up as well. And it's just, I don't know. It's weird to me even seeing like the conversations between the older people talking about Perfect slash Paul. It automatically goes straight to whether or not their sexuality is going to be a certain way. It's like, how about you worry about whether or not this child is going to learn their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and learn how to read? Why we got to skip straight to what your sexuality is going to be?
I think people centered so much more in this book, like well, I'm not even initially, just overall. But remember that this is like a little small town, right? And at this time period, it's not like, you know how now you have like non-binary, like LGBTQ plus. I don't even know all the terms, but you have such a wide array of categories and tolerances. Some more than others, but you have a whole idea of tolerance. Back then there was no such thing. You fit into and are you a woman? Those are the two gender roles. So seeing this person that was one thing and now something else, for one, people don't know the whole story. It's not like Imogene came up and was like, okay, this is what I did, and Dusty like shut up or whatever. But nobody really knows exactly what's going on, and people are curious. So I kind of understood all of that, because I think even if I was like in that little town, I was curious, what the hell is going on? The person was in a dress, you know. I do think that people were thinking about the gender thing, which is a natural curiosity, but I think there's totally discounting. You have a child that is going through this, like, and people are like, even at the house, Imogene, like, okay, a little girl, little boys and little girls are raised differently, right? Okay, little girls are taught, you know, I mean, and this is in general, by the way, very general. Little girls, you know, you have the little dresses, am I pretty? You know, everybody's like, oh, she's so cute. We have the little bows. We spend forever fixing our hair. It's a really big thing, especially in the Black community, if you're one that cares about it, okay? It's it's a part of your identity, okay? What you wear, all that stuff. Girls are in the house, you know, with the mom, you're cooking, you have girl talk. It's a whole nother vibe versus boys. Here, boy, let's go. And stuff. Those are the two split gender roles at that time period.
Right.
So now you have this kid that has to completely switch, and it wasn't no like gradual. It was
like
for a girl
like
today, you're a boy the next. And it was just that, I don't want to hear perfect. Your name is like going closer to like that is very,
and the kid couldn't process it.
Exactly. Nobody allowed him to process it. And so not only does he have to think about all this in his 8-year-old brain, like people calling him a sissy. He didn't even know what a sissy and a punk was.
Right.
He has to process that of, I had all this attention, people thought I was cool, now I'm a boy. What is this penis?
Nobody
in a little 8-year-old brain. In addition to people looking at him funny and making little comments. Like he came out way better than I thought.
I don't know how she expected them to just be in the community and just everybody like, okay, well, I did it, get over it. Like it's just, how did you expect people to?
I guess she thought people were going to just be like, okay, that's fine. We can get down with the get down. It's a boy now. No, you live in an insular community. If you think about it, it's just so small. It's insular. So then on top of that, it's built all around Christianity. So in the Bible, they don't have all this, what you call it, different genders and all that kind of stuff. So of course, their mind is going to be very, what is the word I'm looking? It starts with a D. Not didactic. Here I am trying to find an SAT word and can't find it.
Divided? I don't know.
Well, no. Well, I guess you can say divided. Like everybody is of one kind of mind. They don't have an in between. Everything is black and white. There's nothing everything is a definite. It's definitive. So it's hard for them to try to like wrap their mind around the fact that, like you said, this used to be a girl for 7 or 8 years, and now all of a sudden it's this boy. And it was like you said, what they could have done, I feel like gradually, instead of cutting all the hair off, at least let them keep the hair. Keep the hair, then maybe just keep the hair, put on some overalls, so that eventually they start seeing the boy. You see what I'm saying? Because I feel like they kind of knew that he wasn't completely a girl just based on looking at him. Because even after he became a boy, people still were saying, "You're a really pretty boy."
Yeah.
Still, it's like.
Well, you had what's the other guy? Youngblood. He was pretty too, and nobody really.
Oh yeah, the one that he liked.
Handsome, you know. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like the family could have eased the burden a bit by sheltering him a little bit. Like kept him home for a week. And even Imogene and her crazy mind was like, can we keep him home a little bit? But what's his face was like, no, we're going to church. Might as well get used to it. And I feel like it was almost kind of like shaming him a little bit. But there's no precedent for something like that. Right. You know, but I feel like it would have been a little bit better.
Gus ain't got no sense. That's the problem. Gus, no, I'm so serious. You like Gus? Because Gus grew up the way that he did, where his father was like, "You better not be a sissy." It's like he's trying to make sure he does the same thing with his own child. That's the only way he knows how to react to something like this.
Cool.
You know, so yeah, I don't know. And I feel like, honestly, now I think about it, I feel that he would have done better if they would not have thrown him into the arms of Arthur Lee and the daddy. Because them two seem like they have they're the most manly of all the males in the house. So if he wasn't doing something the way they wanted him to, if he didn't do it like a boy, the only thing they knew to do is just put their hands on him, hit him, beat him, kick him.
I think that personally, I mean, and granted, we don't know anything besides where they're at. I think personally, it would have been in their better interest to have sent him away to like a relative or something and start
like and then come back 5 years later.
Exactly. Yeah. And truthfully, what I thought when she took him into the woods, I was thinking one of two things, right? When she was leading up to, okay, this can't go on, this ends tonight, right? When Imogene took him into the woods. I was thinking when they said she took a satchel, I was thinking, okay, she's going to either kill him or I thought she was going to run away with him. I didn't expect her to basically turn him into a boy and then march him back to the same house. Like that, I was just dumbfounded that is what happened.
That wasn't so much anything. I was just trying to figure out what she was going to tell him. But I didn't think she was going to try to, kill him or run off with him at all. I knew she was kind of getting paranoid, though. That's just it.
Yeah.
Honestly, she could have just told him and then just left it at that, though. Like, why did she have to tell the whole family right after she told him, hey, your boy, like, can we smooth it, make it a little bit smoother?
There were no secrets around them. She should have told the husband first.
Like, what was her end game? Like, did she think that it was never going to come out? What was the...
I don't understand. You know what? Truthfully, I personally think that in my opinion, I think she just wanted somebody to recreate her childhood with. She wanted somebody to do all the pretty things and bake a cake and throw parties and stuff. I don't think she was thinking past like age 8 or 9. Right. I really don't. I don't think she really had an end game, but she did say she thought at some point it would come out. But I don't think she was thinking about that. She was just being very selfish of, I want somebody, that I can cuddle with and do all the girly stuff. And not thinking, hey, this person grows up and I'm screwing somebody's life up.
Right.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It was just crazy.
I mean, I feel like low-key, she could have just got a baby doll and pretended like that was her baby girl.
Her surrogate child, baby doll.
Yeah, she don't want in the house the other day. Play baby doll.
She could have just, you know how there's these people who have, those reborn dolls.
I had one.
You have one?
Act like
I had one. I sold it.
Yeah, I don't know. Imogene, like I said, she wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like if Peace didn't ask that question about a period, she maybe would have kept going on. It's like she wasn't thinking about it. It's like anything that was associated with how the female body works, she wasn't thinking about it at all. Yeah. Even the male body too, because I was worried the whole time that somebody was gonna know that he had a penis. I mean, how do you hide that? Like if the father, let's say for example, I'm assuming, I don't know if the father did this, but if you're holding your daughter on your lap, you're gonna feel something on your lap.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe Gus didn't just hands off kind of parent. I'm assuming.
I thought it was gonna be found out in a way like that. Something was gonna happen.
I thought it was gonna be Eva May.
But remember, Barnabas knew, but he was blind, so he.
Oh yeah,
remember?
When Barnabas was like, "What's that?"
I felt bad that he felt guilty, like it was kind of his fault or something. Like, dude, that ain't nothing.
He had nothing to do with it. It's your mama's fault. It's not your fault. That was wild. I think if I was Bartimaeus too, I don't know if I would be able to hold it in though. I think I would have told somebody.
But why she putting his hand down in her privates too? I was like,
she was what, 7? I think she was 7 years old then. So, she was like, "Hey, I am a girl. Look at this." Kids don't. They don't care.
Apparently they don't. Well, at least that was innocent right there. Unlike the whole interaction with Eva May, that was out of control.
Eva May was having a good old time.
I think she wanted him, and he didn't want her, and she was pissed.
Eva May, y'all just don't understand. In the comments, Eva May, to me, she came off as a predator. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. Because it's like every time they were together, they're trying to, do something together. And then after a while, they found another place to go. I think like where the Cloverfield or something is. So their little secret, it went on for quite a while.
That's all she seemed like she cared about was sexual intimacy stuff. So yeah, she was seeing too much at home.
She was trying to kiss and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
I mean, I played house too, but I didn't play house that far.
I didn't take off no clothes with playing house. No. Okay, so there was 7 kids, right? Okay. Now let's talk about each kid. So we have mom and dad. We already talked about them, right? So the oldest son was James Earl, right? So he was born slow. He was really sensitive. I don't know if he was kind of autistic, but he definitely was like a slower kid, right? So he didn't really have much like personality because he would cry and stuff.
I forgot about him.
Yeah. But you know what? I loved his relationship with Arthurly. Now, Arthurly to me is the smartest one of the group because remember when they were trying to teach Paul how to be a man? A lot of the deference was to Arthurly instead of Gus because I think Arthurly was more of the man and the alpha of the house. But I love the relationship between Arthurly and James Earl. Like I almost teared up when Arthurly was like, I'm getting married, and James Earl was like, "Well, what about me?" And he was like, "Yeah, come with me." I already asked her, and I was like, "Oh,
that's some sibling love there."
I know.
I mean, yeah, Arthur got on my nerves, but
he redeemed himself. Yeah,
right, he did with that one because he was thinking about his brother. So.
Yeah, but he thought about him already because remember earlier when before he even got married. Hey, sweetie, before they even got married or before he even asked, he was like, "Hey, I'm going to marry this girl, the big booty girl, when I get older." And remember in his head he was thinking, "Yeah, we're gonna be all right, all 3 of us." Like in his head, he said that, and I was like, he already thinking of his brother. And then it came to fruition when he actually asked her to marry him that he included him. It might have been some crazy stuff going on in the house, but that's their business.
Listen, because that's why my head went straight there. I was like, look, James Earl is not the smartest cookie. This lady is gonna feel like she got 2 husbands, but go off.
She said she did.
Yeah, she
had to work for him.
2 husbands.
Who am I to judge? I think you make your house the way you want. Because she was like, I got James Earl as a husband during the day who listens, and then I got this other dude who ignites my body at night.
Yep, and they hope they both, all of them raise the children together. Like it was a beautiful throuple.
Yep. And that second baby looked just like James Earl and slept with them. And I was like, hey,
He
you know
said,
what?
I got 2 husbands.
Yeah. Hey, I ain't mad at the woman. I need 2 of them too.
I wasn't mad at that at all. I said, go, girl. I thought she was really sweet. I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah.
She
I
had
thought that was.
Because, yeah, it was good that she had all her needs met. So that was cool.
I thought that was just awesome. That was like my favorite relationship of the whole book, of the relationship between Arthur Lee and James Earl.
It came as a package.
Yeah, it came as a package, yeah. And then you got old boy Woody. What was he? He was the comedian. Oh, he wants to be a preacher.
Yeah, that surprised me. But then again, not really, because most pastors are kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they got the gift of gab. They're comfortable just always talking. They want to hear themselves talk.
Yeah.
So, but it was a little bit surprising.
Yeah. And then you have King Solomon, who was a smart kid, who liked to read and he can sing. He was like the Renaissance man there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought the mama did him dirty though. Like, he the smart one to go to school, but you're going to take him out of school. And that's what sucks though. Really back in the day, when you have, a poor family, everybody works. That's how you put food on the table. And you have to pick and choose who goes to school. Mm-hmm. But once again, Paul was favored.
Yep.
And King Solomon, who truthfully deserved it more, was taken out. But you know what? He made lemonade out of lemons. So there we go.
He did.
I thought it was funny. He gonna show up to Howard talking about, I want to go to school.
Yeah, I was like, your teacher did not prepare you for that.
He didn't go to school though.
Go to that school, but you gotta register first.
Like, why didn't the teacher say something? Like, she was helping him all that. She could have just said, you gotta register. Like, you can't.
Maybe she just had like that blind faith where she was like,
so disappointed in that.
Smart child, he can do it. He can do it. He did it, but Lord, did it take a while for him to get there?
That's Chalondra.
Yeah, it was. It made me upset though, because it's like he was begging. He's like, "Look, I ain't got no money to go back home.
Right.
I have to go to school." And they're like, "Well, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do for you. I don't know what to do for you."
He should have looked up some criteria to know what it takes to get in there. But I will say he got the hookup, because you got this boy showing up in dirty country overalls, and he got a meeting with the president, and then the president got a job. You didn't even test him to see if he's smart. Like, you don't know. The fact that he just showed up to college thinking he gonna start tomorrow, to me, I'm like, yeah, that's smart right there. You just gave him a chance.
Yeah. You gotta give. That's the thing, though. You gotta give people a chance.
Yeah.
You can't just go based on appearance, because we got a whole bunch of people that look good and are dumb as a box of rocks. So hey.
Yeah, but he made something of himself, so I was appreciative of that. Yeah. Despite his mama.
Right, but he got his voice from his mama, because she could sing too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. Mm-hmm. And then, did she ever apologize to him? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
No.
He was just like, okay. I think he just was like, don't worry about it.
I think she did, but she was already like crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think she was it was too late for that.
Yeah.
He
didn't need it. You have those piss poor mamas that the kids make it despite. I kind of feel like this is kind of the situation.
Mm-hmm. I wish I
could find where they need to be despite where they came from, Let me open a harder road.
My story graph, because the president did say something about like his upbringing. And it was a line, I can't find it though. And I really like that quote. It was along the lines of saying, like, you maybe didn't come from nothing, but your parents they taught you hard work.
Yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. So
a good foundation. I think all of them did.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, despite Paul / perfect, but you know what? Even then, though, I think he still had a good foundation, because he had a mama and daddy working together. Yeah, their intimacy and stuff, but you had a mama and daddy in a household working together to make it work, properly raising kids. That's a good foundation. A lot of people don't see that.
Right.
Just growing up. So, but but he had a hard road.
Very.
And then we had then we had man, I keep going with kids. Okay, so we got
Yeah.
number 5. This thing is blind Bartimaeus. Now, why they put blind Bartimaeus in the Bible? Okay,
Blind Bartimaeus.
You know, back in the day, your name's legal when you write it in the Bible, but they have this blind Bartimaeus.
Like y'all, look, his name is Blind. Look, y'all see that? Blind Bartimaeus.
Literally sleeping in a coffin.
I know. He was like, it's nice and snug.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
They buried his mama in.
I was so confused. I was like, why is he sleeping in a coffin? And I had to go back again to make sure I heard correctly.
You know what? It probably was because it was so much. They probably had a small house, and that was his own little space. So he probably was like,
they say he didn't know any better, so they put him in there because it's already dark. And he was like, "Oh, I like it."
I don't think they put the top on. They probably they just probably had it just kind of
a little cracked open.
I just thought they kept this thing a long time because then they buried the mama in it, and I was just like dying laughing. And I was like, well, I guess Bartimaeus lost his spot. And then when he married that big girl, right? Which Bartimaeus had some play though. I ain't gonna lie. Okay, he almost got me because when she was like, well, you know, I'm big or I'm fat or whatever, and he was like, and I love every inch of it down to my fingers. And I was like,
girl, you know I know what that is. That's okay.
No, he was like, it's just more to love. I was like, what?
What?
But then he said she snored, and that made him wish he could go back to his club.
That was so sweet. Though. I like their little
their little romance before he proposed and everything.
Yeah,
he didn't know she snored though.
Yeah,
and ate enough for more than one person. If he didn't finish his food, she ate his food.
I thought something was gonna come from that because he said he actually didn't mind that she overate all the time. He just didn't like the health effects, and I'm like, what are they? But they didn't go into it.
Right. I wanted more.
Yeah,
I wanted to know what else they did. You know, past getting
married. But I'm glad she got love though, because she was thinking that, you know, her daddy was doing some stuff. So she was thinking she would never find love. And I like that. But you know, what's his face? Paul played matchmaker because remember he was like, you can walk me home and then you could speak to Bartimaeus. And then they were on the porch and that's how they wound up getting together. I was like, okay. So that was cool. Unlike that darn Eva Mae who didn't find nobody.
I know, that was sad for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she wanted Paul though, and it just wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny when King Solomon came in and he was like, "Where's your husband?" And she was like, "Where's your wife?" And then they both showed up.
It was like touche,
right? Okay, so you got it.
I think she was almost like the sister, like the eighth kid, you know.
Mm-hmm. So she was all the time.
Yeah, but he was real nice. I liked him a lot. And then you got Mr. His homosexuality came out of nowhere for me.
The twist of it all.
I said, now wait a minute.
We were too busy looking at Paul / Perfect. We didn't even notice what was going on with Mr. over here. Mr. was
wait a minute.
With Mr. Young, what's his name? Young Blood?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that when he was saying I was jealous of you, whatever, you know, when he was talking to Paul saying I was jealous of the time he spent with mama, blah, 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 I still didn't put it together because I was thinking Mr. was the baby before Perfect came over. So I thought he was just missing like having that attention of being the baby. I didn't think about the idea that it was maybe, you know, I don't even know because
probably jealous that he could be feminine, and probably because he could be feminine, and you know.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah,
I'm not saying that all gay men are feminine, but maybe he just, you know, maybe that was part of it, you know.
Well, it's the idea that I think Mr. probably wanted to embrace. I mean, I don't think
like maybe he wanted, maybe he appreciated beautiful things too, and he wanted, you know, some beauty instead of being a hard man all the time. You know, he wanted some soft and some beauty in his life. You know,
yeah.
We shouldn't deny that to men. You know,
That's
Men
true
like
because
beautiful
in this community, it's either you're a man or you're a woman and you possess those traits. There's no in between. And the reality is there is femininity and masculinity in men and females, like and vice versa. But
Right.
yeah, but I think, yeah, maybe he saw. And I think the reason why they became so close once Perfect became Paul is because Paul possesses that femininity and masculinity. And
Yeah.
I think the idea that, especially when he became more masculine, if you will, I think that he still retained some of those traits. And Mr. I think could probably see that there is room for both in one body. But he couldn't possess it. He couldn't say that. But he got the boy though. He was like, I got him.
Right. He sure did.
I was
They carved their little initials in the tree, and that was so sweet.
Oh.
I was like really sad though when Youngblood said, "Hey, we have to leave. Here's a ticket," and he's like, "No, I have to stay because my mom." And
Me too. I was like, forget your mama.
You don't leave.
yeah. I'm
You
like,
don't leave.
you gonna miss your love. You gonna let your love leave your life for your crazy mom.
Didn't he end up going though?
Yeah, he hitchhiked and found some way later on. You know, he ran away. It was like, I'm not gonna miss my blessing, and he went
Right.
and found it. So I like that. I was like, yeah, you go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then Perfect was the last person. So
Then
yeah.
that was perfect.
And that was perfect.
Woo, perfect.
Perfect.
That's before Perfect rocked our world.
Let's see.
Man.
Hold up, what do you think about when Paul asked Christina to go to the dance and she went to her people house and the daddy gave him the 3rd degree?
I said, you ain't got to worry about him. You ain't got to worry about Paul.
I'm surprised the mom and dad said yes. I mean, this was like 10 years later, but I was still surprised.
Right, because they really could have just been like, no, you a little funny.
But
if you think about it, I would rather my daughter be with him and be safe and not worry that she's gonna get assaulted or anything. I would rather her be with
somebody
him.
that's too managed.
Yeah. Right. I would rather that than, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's a small town, so still they don't want to be associated with him. Yeah, so.
Yeah. I do think he held his own though. Remember when his dad and his mom, or at least his dad, was upset when he came back to the house and said they gave him the 3rd degree? But I'm like, for one, I think Christina's daddy was doing his due diligence for his daughter. Yeah. I would expect nothing less. Even if it wasn't the situation with Paul / Perfect, he should still be grilling whoever's taking his daughter out. Yeah. But I think that Paul held his own in answering those questions. And to me, that is symbolic of what he needs to for his background. He needs to be able to answer those tough questions because people are going to ask, hey, I saw you wearing a dress. Are you a boy? Are you a girl? I am a boy, sir. You need to say that. So I think he held his own, and I thought it was good that he didn't need somebody to defend him. Because remember, up until that point, even May was always
there. I'm like, girl, let him fight his own battles. You don't have to be a bulldog in every situation. But I understand she loved him that much.
Yeah. And he wasn't standing up for himself. She felt like she needed to.
Right.
But she did stand up for him in the end, and I was like, okay, girl. She burned down that house.
Okay. Like,
that's crazy.
If love could kill.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
I'll be right back. But y'all don't.
Oh, okay.
At first, I thought it was going to be Sugar Baby. I was surprised when it was her.
Same here. Oh, it was her the whole time.
Yeah, that was crazy.
You don't play about her Perfect / Paul. Leave Paul. She'll light your house up.
Oh, I got a good question here. Okay. Do you think that The Secret would have lasted into the teens?
Ain't no way. Because pretty soon, then again, it depends on whether or not people are like familiar with women with facial hair. Like myself, I have hirsutism. That's how you call it. So he started to get facial hair. If it was light, I don't think it would bother them too much. But then, like after a while, you're going to be expecting the girl to develop a body, right, of some kind of type. So in order for them to get past that, Perfect would have to like work with the mother. The mother would have to like pull perfect to the side and be like, okay, we're gonna pretend that you have breasts. And then most likely pad a bra or something. If she wanted to continue doing it, but it's like doing too much to try to keep up this ruse. You can't do it. You can't do it. And pretty soon it was just gonna just come out. The voice was gonna change. There, I mean, I don't know if they had hormones back then in 1940s, but or 50s, whatever time it would have been. It ain't no way. But
I gave that secret till about age 10, and then that would have been a wrap. Because I think the wiener situation would have been real quick.
Oh, I was gonna give him a little bit longer, maybe like 12 or 13.
That's a long time.
12 or 13.
Kids play around.
Cut it off. But like once you get to high school, there ain't no way you could have hit it.
I think that darn Eva May would have found it out quick. She probably would have kept it secret too.
Right, because it's her secret then. She's like, oh, I have you all to myself. Ain't got nobody. But then once he became a boy, then she felt like she had to fight anybody else that wanted to be with him. Because didn't she act kind of funny around Christina?
Yeah, because she liked
the prom. Yeah.
I think she was protective of him, but I really do think that she liked him. That's why she wasn't dating anybody else, because she would always say, is there somebody else you like? I think she kept waiting for him to say you. And she was upset that he would date Christina, but then he was still making googly eyes at Youngblood. I think she wanted him to kind of choose, and then but she also wanted to be that person, but she knew she wouldn't. Just like how he accepted, even though he was still lusting after Youngblood dude, he accepted that that would never be somebody for him.
Right.
And which was very big of him to accept that, hey, I could never have this guy. And then when he found out that Youngblood was dating his brother, he really knew it wouldn't happen. But he had made it resolved in his head that that would never be for him. So, but I think that Eva May, I think resolved that he would never be for her as well, because he is still confused about who he is.
Right.
So I think that it's kind of that same vein, but that don't mean she's not upset about it, you know?
Yeah, she's like, I'll be over here just in case you change your mind.
Exactly.
Eva May on standby.
I like to think that she found somebody.
What'd you say, Kiana?
I said I like to think that she found somebody.
Me too. I hope so.
Because, you know.
Because she deserves love. I think she would have made a really good wife. She seems really chill, you know?
Very loyal, very, you know.
Ride or die.
Yeah.
Don't mess with her, mate.
I was thinking when they asked, you know how when the book, which I like, they didn't wait all the way, like the structure of the book, you didn't have to wait till the end. Like they would tell you the boys' fates like 10 years down the line of what happened to them, you know? I was thinking they were going to say with King Solomon that them two got together when they asked about each other's spouses and they both shut up. You didn't get their personal story about what they did. So I was thinking maybe but they didn't say.
No, it's open-ended.
Yeah. But Woody, oh my gosh, y'all. Remember when Woody, they said he had that dream that the Lord said he should marry Puddin Jenkins. And they were like, that ugly girl? And he was like, yeah, the Lord said you should go get her. So he went and got her. And the person was like,
that part.
Yeah, I remember that now.
I would send her back. Apparently he married the ugly girl in town. Even his daddy said she was ugly.
The ugly girl with the big butt?
No, she didn't have the big butt. Arthur Lee married the girl with the big butt. Puddin Jenkins had the big forehead and the eye that went to the side.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
And apparently she did they say she was nice? I don't know if they said she was super nice either, but they said that the Lord said that's who he should be with, and so he went and followed the Lord. That just shows you how devout that he was.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. Wow, I was like, okay.
Get your girl. You don't know where she's looking, but she looking.
And then that goes into, I have this right here. So you know how Paul was saying that the idea of, well, for one, they were talking about the whole concept with Imogene and stuff about being dark is not equated with being beautiful. Same thing what they were saying, love is not equated with, what did they say? Love is not. Paul was having a conundrum about it. Love and relationship. No, that's not it.
Open my notes up. Maybe I got I made some journal entries. Maybe.
Again?
No, I was looking through my story graph because I was making journal entries as I went. Was it before or after Mr. Not Mr. Yeah. Was it before or after Woody became a pastor?
I don't know. I can't remember. I thought I put a note, but I don't see it. Something about the idea that I just wrote down black. The whole concept of is difficult, which even today, that's still a difficult concept with colorism, of the idea that someone can be dark and still beautiful. But then there was the whole idea that you having love does not equate to, was it?
I feel like I didn't mark it somewhere. I can't find it.
Was it love and relationships between men? No, it wasn't that. Was that it? I can't remember.
You have to get clear by the time.
I forgot the other part, but he was debating about the idea of being loved. Oh, I think he was saying the fact that based off his past, he don't think that he'll ever be able to find love, and he was saying, "I want to have love too." Paul was saying he wants to be loved, but he don't think based off his past that there'll ever be love for him. That it wasn't.
It must have been around the time that Mr. told him that he broke up. Well, not broke up, but kind of let go.
Yeah. But I thought that was just really sad, the idea that he was like, okay, I don't think that's going to be in the cards and stuff.
Right.
But also, I just thought that it kind of is along the same lines of the whole colorism thing with the other stuff. I just wrote them as equal. What else did I write down on this sheet here? Oh, and then, okay, so religion plays a really big part in this book too, right? And I thought it was really interesting that he was saying that, who was it saying? I think Woody was saying you can't be saved if you were a quote unquote sissy. I also like that he was talking about how you have to be married for sex. So they were really devout in that. And I liked how they utilized that to, oh, well, you can't be with a woman or whatever until you actually get married, which probably equated for why they all got married so young. But I thought that it was also interesting when, I think it was it Mr.? No, it was a conversation in the end, I think, between King Solomon and Paul when he was saying, is there anybody you like? And then he was like, you have a crush on. And no, he was like, any girl you have a crush on. And then King Solomon was like, or guy. Like he kind of called him out, like, you know, or guy.
Yeah. And I think that when he came back.
Yeah. And he was saying, oh, you know, but, you know, you do you, just make sure you're aware of, you know, what's going on. He was basically saying he support him. And he was talking about how, you know, that's against the church. Like Paul was saying that, and, you know, how he didn't feel like he was worthy of love, and God would think he's a sinner because of whatever, and that he can't be saved. And I think he said, was it King Solomon saying that you have the church is filled with prostitutes and thieves and liars. So why couldn't you, and Lord saves them. So why can't the Lord save someone like you or love someone like you? So I thought that was really, really poignant like that. That just equated back in the Bible about how they were talking about how Jesus' followers were full of prostitutes and liars and nefarious people, you know. Yet you had all these other people that claimed that they were devout, but they were like against Jesus versus all these other liars and stuff that Jesus preached to. And I think that's interesting because people talk about all the folks that are constantly in the church and all this other stuff, but it's like, okay, so you're lying and cheating and doing all this other stuff on your spouse, but you have the nerve to talk about this person that's gay, but the Lord can love them, but he can love you.
Right. Throw the first stone.
Yeah.
Did you find no, I'm looking. Because I'm like, as I'm hearing you, I can envision the chapters. I know chapter 25 is when Woody became a pastor, and he said what you were talking about. When he asked him the question, like, oh, like now that you are a pastor, what do I need to do in order to be saved?
Yeah.
He asked for something like that. I'm trying to find it because I have it in my notes.
You got any comments, Miss Kiana?
No, I don't. I listened to it, so I don't have any notes from. I listened to it and from the library.
Yes.
Love the library coming through. I love it. That's where I got this one from.
He loved God in his heart, but obviously wasn't. Okay, so he said he loved God in his heart, but obviously that wasn't enough to save his soul. I'm on page 231. He never wanted to be a sissy, had tried desperately to avoid it, but he must not have tried hard enough, he thought. Woody's words left him despondent and less sure than ever that God even liked him. The day would come when he'd need a savior, and on that day, when the savior didn't come, Paul would regret that years ago he had never learned how to believe. And that's after Woody said everything that he said. Because he was like, first you got to get baptized, and then you got to join the church, and then you got to, like, it's a whole list of things you got to do on page 230. And I'm trying to find the other part, because the other part you were talking about when Saul had came back, that's on page 300 and... where is it? I think page 335. Yeah. Because he was like, let's see, where is it? Okay, anybody you thinking about marrying? He said, nope. No, there must be someone around here you've been looking at. Of course there was someone, but Paul couldn't name him. Saul leaned onto Paul's shoulder and whispered, what's his name? Oh my God.
There
Paul
you go.
covered his face. How did you know? That's page 335.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, he said it wasn't hard to figure out. And he said, you think Daddy knows? I don't know, but I wouldn't worry about it. He said, why not? Because you're grown now. And anyway, people ain't God. Whatever they think they know, God already knows. And if he hasn't troubled you about it, you can pretty much ignore other folks. And it keeps on going on and on. So, yeah. It's towards the end of the book.
Yep.
Where you get like a little bit of ray of sunshine and hope.
Yeah. And he got to be his own person. Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love Saul. I think Saul and Paul, they're kind of like what's his name, James Earl and Arthur Lee. Like they somehow they have to be, they lean on each other.
I feel like throughout the book there was pairings. Like I think Arthur Lee and James Earl were always together. Like I always felt like they were a pair together because he took care of them. But I think at different times Paul paired with different people. Like for different lessons. Like at the point you just talked about, there was him and King Solomon together. But then there was other times where, like there was other time with him and Mr. when they bonded over him finding out Mr's secret. There was a time with Bartimaeus when he kind of hooked him up with the other girl. I just thought that was different times that I felt like there was pairings to prove different points and different lessons throughout the book. So I like that a lot.
Amongst the siblings.
Yeah. And then I have a note here, nature versus nurture, that question. The idea of you have perfect / Paul, right? You have people have that whole thing about people are born a certain way or people are taught that, certain things. Because now people are like, oh, he's always going to be messed up and stuff like that and have an identity crisis, which I think to a certain extent he will, because your formative years are very important. He was taught something in his formative years that shaped how he thinks. And now he has to think differently, but there's always going to be a part. Because remember how he was saying about the idea that, he missed having that attention and people giving him that validation and saying that he's pretty and things like that. And then it was like night and day, like, okay, when you were a girl, you were special. And part of that could have been the fact that he was the only girl. So it's even more attention. Everybody was treating him like kid glove, not just the mom, but everybody. And then now Paul, like you were perfect one day, Paul the next. Those things don't go away because now you're lamenting when you were something special and now you're not. So who wouldn't want to be special and think of themselves in that fashion? But that got me to thinking about the nature versus nurture. Now, in this person's case, I mean, you'll never know how Paul would have been if he was Paul the whole time, of whether or not those feminine traits that people claim that he has, if that would have been prevalent in him still, had he not been nurtured into being a girl. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, because physical traits can come and go, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I enjoyed the book.
Yeah, it was good.
Any final thoughts?
Good. I'm gonna read another book by him. I don't know when, but I plan to read his entire catalog. I'm just hoping, my fingers are crossed, that I don't end up feeling like it's the same book over and over again. You know how some authors you like their books
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
it's like, wait, this sounds familiar.
Let me look up another book by him. Let me see. Okay. I'll go The Sacred Place. I'm gonna look that up. I haven't looked up anything by him at all.
And I feel like silly that I didn't know about him because I went to Spelman in 2006.
Mhm.
I think I was there in 2006, 2007. And he was right there across the street at Clark Atlanta teaching. I was like, Jaleesa. And I thought about going to Clark Atlanta. Honestly, I would have taken his class if I would have stayed in Atlanta. Because I like the way he talks. He gives me kind of like preacher vibes in a way. I know he's heavy in the church because I think he's like minister of music or something. He can play instruments. I know he can sing and stuff like that.
Well,
But
that
he's
makes
very,
sense.
right. He's very engaging.
Mhm.
Very engaging.
Good
Okay,
pay.
so this is, oh, go ahead.
We should have made this the June, like to read, like and did this in July, like for this month.
Oh, for Pride Month?
Yeah. I
Oh,
think
I
we
didn't
should
see
Discussing in Pride.
that.
Right. Look, I mean, you didn't know what was.
Well, we can think of another book if we talk of something. Okay, here's a synopsis for The Sacred Place. In the summer of 1955, 14-year-old Clement enters a general store in Money, Mississippi to purchase a soda. Unaware of the consequences of flouting the rules governing Black-white relations in the South, the Chicago native defies tradition by laying a dime on the counter and turns to depart. Miss Cuthbert, the store attendant, demands that he place the money in her hand, but he refuses, declaring, "I ain't no slave," and exits with a sense of entitlement unknown to Black people at the time.
Oh.
His
Oh my
behavior results in brutal murder. This
Oh.
event sparks a war on money, forcing the Black community to galvanize strength in pursuit of equality.
Oh.
Okay. I'm getting
Oh.
what's his name?
Emmett Till. That's
Yeah,
exactly what I thought. Wasn't
I'm
that?
getting that.
I
Yeah, I'm
don't
getting,
know if I could take that,
well,
but
Yeah,
Emmett
I'm
Till.
already getting chills listening to that one.
I don't know if I
I
could do that.
to this day I can't even look at a picture of him without being like, why? Why? It's
He seems
overkill.
like he has a knack for telling you what the synopsis is and then just bringing it home, which is interesting because a lot of people don't do spoilers. But
Mhm.
he spoils it in the beginning, but you're still curious about it.
Right. Somehow, you keep reading.
I mean, it sounds good, but I don't think my heart could take that. So
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna have to.
I don't know. I wonder, like when people, I always wonder this. Like if somebody was growing up in that time, what was it? You said 1955. Okay, so let's say somebody still has a mentality nowadays. If they were to read this here, would they feel like it's right for somebody to demand that you put money inside of their hands? Like I'm giving you the money, whether regardless of whether or not I put it on the table or I put it in your hands, I'm giving it to you. It'd be different if I walked out here and didn't pay for anything.
Yeah.
I would think they wouldn't even want it from your hand.
Right. I'm surprised about that.
But
too.
I think it's just the making them do something. I don't think it
Yeah.
really matters. It's just if he'd have put it in her hand, it would have been like, no, put it on my counter.
It's a
Right.
power dynamic. That's what all of that is. It's
Probably
just like
what that
racism.
is.
It's a power dynamic.
Mhm.
Oof.
I think that's
See,
more
I
what
don't
it
know.
has to do with.
I think I'd be on the first thing smoking back then. I don't think I could stay here. I don't think
I mean, honestly, I'm a rule follower, so
Oh.
I probably, to be honest,
Just put the money in her hand.
I probably
Yeah,
would be.
I'm gonna put the money in your hand if you ask me to, but I'm gonna always think about the fact that you asked me to do it, and then when I responded, you got an attitude.
I
I'm always think about it.
I don't think I would be. I think I would probably not be one of those people at the sit-ins. Honestly, I think I'm probably one of those. Don't make no moves. You know, that's just
Yeah.
That's probably how I would be, honest.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to survive.
I don't think I would be a freedom fighter.
No freedom rider.
Yeah.
I don't.
I read a
like
lot of books about
would.
that. I second guess myself too if I would have the strength and fortitude. Because even during the civil rights movement, those people at sit-ins, they would sign their wills and stuff before they go.
Yeah.
And respect the fact that if I die, then I'm dying today. Like they go in and I made like that's heavy. However, I think we all have the privilege of not having lived during that time but that's why when I read about that, not to say I'm this big activist myself, but to me, I don't like the complacency sometimes when it comes to Black people sometimes, because I feel like there are people that died for us to be here. Not to say you gotta be all like all this and all this stuff all the time, but just don't let that go to waste. Like don't deny that you're here because somebody else did something. So don't just lay down and just take an injustice if you have a chance to do something about it. You know, I'm not saying you got to go march and all this other stuff, but don't let people just completely run all over you. And I think as I've gotten older, I'm taking much more of a stand for that. Because when I was younger, I've been in situations where now being the age that I am, I think back and I shake my head and feel like I did a disservice to myself and my Black people for going with the flow and you know, just not making waves. Me now, I'm like, let's make this wave right here. Let's bring it on. Like I will make a wave in a heartbeat. Let's do it. Like I'm not gonna go out of my way to cause drama and get out of character as much, but I'm gonna make some waves. Like let's do it. Like, okay, let's talk about this right about now. Not just go do that. Oh, I'm about to be off.
They mentioned something. I'm trying to remember what chapter it was. Did one of the sons, one of the brothers, we wanted to do something with the NAACP.
Right.
What was it? And people were like, "Oh, you know, there's no point in you fighting. Nothing's gonna change."
I think Mr. was involved. Gus was in it too, yeah. But Mr. was involved in it.
I wanted more of that too. It just seemed like they would
It just kind of stopped.
Because by him talking like that, I feel like that means that the town is changing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we didn't get much of it. I wanted more.
I think he was throwing in little historical references to show that there's some change coming, and also to kind of like he apparently writes like a lot of books about like being in the rural South. Even the 2 books that he references in this book, I just looked in the back, they're about like rural southern towns. But I think he kind of throws those in there just to kind of have a context, because the book is about the situation with this boy who was misgendered at birth and the surrounding family, but you get so inundated in that story that you're not really bringing up much about, okay, this is 1940s Arkansas. There's racism and bigotry and stuff surrounding these people.
As if he didn't have stuff to do
in there for historical context.
Man, we don't like Imogene over here, okay? I'm serious, because I mean, he already got enough to deal with. You are a Black man in America, in a rural area, in the South, and now you're going to make this boy a girl?
Right. For your own selfish reasons.
The magnitude. She messed around like that.
Yeah. I kept thinking she has no plan. I was like, she has no plan.
Nope.
I'm telling you, Gus didn't give her enough of a beat down. All she had was marks on the back of her neck.
Say that on the internet.
He should have had a few kicking sessions, and then he made her sleep on the floor. She needs something more. I'm sorry, something with a gift. He even gave her the pallet, just bare floor, no blanket.
I don't think he was smart enough to even know what to do, honestly.
Yeah, he was dumbfounded.
I think he was.
And then it was like, and she just stayed at the house. Like, I don't know. I just feel like she should have been kicked out, or something would have happened. It was just like she did this bad thing. We're just not gonna look at her for a little bit. But it was business as
take care of
usual.
her and everything. Because he easily could have. I mean, considering that he's the only one working, he could have easily stripped her of all financial. You know, what do you call it?
She didn't get paid nothing anyway.
She wasn't gonna do that because who was gonna cook his
washing
food?
his clothes. She wasn't.
Who was gonna take care of him?
Exactly.
So So if he would have kicked her out, she wouldn't have had anything. But he still took care of her.
He wouldn't have had anything either. Because
exactly. And I think that's the reason why he kept her.
He got all them kids to raise. They wasn't raising their kids like that. The men wasn't raising.
So he didn't keep her around to me. You know what? I'm glad you said that. It reminded me. Towards the end, she did make a point of saying that like she was too tired to like cook and stuff after she was working for free for Henrietta. Okay, thank you for reminding me. So yes, you're right. He needed her. I thought he could just get rid of her.
They wasn't going out getting divorces like that.
Yeah, they don't. They just make it like miserable.
You just be miserable together.
Yep. And then Miss Henrietta, I thought it was so funny. She was like, "I want your life." Now I don't understand towards the end how is
I want your life.
I don't understand how is it this woman, Miss Imogene, I don't even call her Miss Imogene because Miss shows respect. Imogene,
you ready to swear up, huh?
I should leave at the butt crack of dawn and leave the house and then come back later with no food on the table and people don't know where she at. How do you not know where she at? For one, this is a small town, but she ain't got freedoms like that. Woman, you got children.
Let me put something in the oven or something.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
She didn't get no lunch break.
Yeah.
She was on a slope. It's like the decline just kept going. I was like, dang, Imogene, maybe this is what you were supposed to have in the end anyway. You served your purpose, and now you got to go.
See, I thought it was interesting that these two women, not that Miss Henrietta, voluntarily, but I thought it was fitting that these two women who got this whole perfect Paul situation in the beginning that started it, I thought it was fitting in the end that they worked together. But I thought that she was going to somehow redeem herself for Imogene, and then they were going to have a successful clothing business. That's what I thought. Nope. I didn't know she was going to go crazy.
Nope. All that. It's like I'm assuming that like there was some rhythm maybe to the sewing machines and stuff. I think they have sewing machines, right? Because you said you tick. Yeah. Maybe that is kind of like a metronome, the tick, tick, tick noise. After a while, it puts you in kind of like a trance. So I'm thinking
that's a lot of time to sit down and think. Yeah,
and that conjured up the voice of silence. And then she started hearing them voices and talking back, and her conscience was on her.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, when you grow up in a big family, because I grew up, it was 5 of us, okay? When you grow up in a big family, you're not used to silence. Silence is like an enemy to you. Now, granted, back in the day, she had to get the house to herself during the day because the boys all worked, but still, she was used to having people around that was like a reprieve. But when you're in this, monotonous job like what she have over there with this lady who's there, and if normally if there's women around, it's women conversation talk, but you have this one woman that's in a room. It's like you're in a room by yourself when you have somebody else there. That came great on you. And I think also being in Miss Henrietta's presence, with Miss Henrietta knowing what goes on, I think she had time just to think, and so her conscience just started really bugging her for a few different reasons in that. But I didn't expect her to go crazy. That just
went wackadoo.
He
was talking to everything but the actual people in there.
She was like, "I think a birthday party gonna bring her back." After this party, she gonna get better. And you invited Miss May.
Honestly, I think she could have went crazy earlier.
Yeah, I thought so, but no, it took a while before she went crazy.
Yeah. But I did like, though, how Miss Mamie was her, arch enemy, right? She didn't like her, right? That was Christina's mama, but she was always talking. I think she was the teacher's wife. Or anyway, whatever. She didn't like her. I thought it was awesome that even though she was supposedly the enemy, remember when Paul and I think Mr. or whoever, they went to town to go get some feed for the cows, and the old dudes were sitting there talking all loud about Paul. I remember he started crying and stuff because he heard them talking about him, calling them a sissy and stuff. Remember when Miss Amy came up and she was like, "Don't pay them no mind. You got to be stronger than this. You can't cry every time you turn around." But she was a source of comfort to him and actually gave him a hug and stuff. I was like, okay, she ain't all bad.
Right, yeah.
I think that just goes to show you that Imogene, she's hateful. Because even when Christina came up, she was like, oh, she thinks she's better than everybody else. She's dressed up and looking pretty. Of course you would have confidence about yourself. And she's a pretty girl. But she's just a hater. So you just saw that she's just a hater.
I think that was more about her thinking that she was going to find out. Well, she already knew by then.
Right.
I think Imogene just wanted to be that paramount person. Now you have that person that, you have a mom, right? They're used to being the center of their boy's world. And then they go to, they get a wife and the boy's like, oh, my wife cooked good. And the mama like, she ain't cook better than me.
Right.
That to me is what Miss Imogene reminded me of when he was trying to date Christina, is that she was jealous that she's not the center of Paul's world anymore.
Right.
Although I think she ceased being the center of his world when the whole thing came out. But she was like, I don't want you to hate me. What you want them to be happy about it?
Right. It's like, I'm not happy about this. My life has been a lie because of you.
Yeah.
Where is the joy in that? I can't find it.
I was thinking it was going to come out later, though. I think it'd be interesting if it would have came out like later, like about to start the teens and like, ooh.
No.
Yeah.
This story could have went so many ways. I like the idea that you said earlier that they could have just like sent.
Shit.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh my God!
We don't You okay, girl?
I'm fine.
Breaking shelves.
Oh my God.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Oh my God.
Is it split?
The thing came out. Oh my God.
Oh, maybe the little ping, you just got to sit it back. The thing that holds the shelf.
Oh wait, all of them fell.
No.
Oh my God.
Hey girl, your family didn't even come check up on you.
Nobody's here. My husband's at work.
You okay though? Nothing didn't fall on
I'm
you.
good. I mean, I think some of the books. Oh my God, what am I gonna do?
You can't fix it. They have the little pings you sit that the shelf goes on.
I don't have any more. I got one missing right here. Ooh.
With the little hole, right?
Yeah. I got 1, 2, 3. This one ripped out.
Oh.
Shoot.
I mean, if you still have the hole and you can stick something in that, those little, you can get little dowels, like the case and stuff.
3 shelves fell.
3?
3 of them fell.
All I saw was one. Just
it went
down, and then all the books were gone. I'm like, what happened?
Oh my God! No, this one fell.
I think it's time to stop. Don't even touch. Don't touch.
That would have been a good YouTube short right there.
Oh my God!
You gotta put together a shelf because that.
Now I got books all over the floor. Ooh.
You may have to stack them up on something else where they won't.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh.
You're almost done too.
Oh well. That's something for my husband to fix.
There you go.
Give him something to do.
I'm just mad because it was all nice.
Yeah.
Mama Washington said, which is worse, the liar or being a support to a liar in the case? Ooh.
Yeah, it's time for a new show.
That's hard.
But that was involuntary support of it. But they're both liars. But the
only reason why she did it is because they both had a secret, and none of them wanted their secret to get out.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I think it's worse being the liar. I ain't gonna lie, because that was just, I don't know what was in her head. First, she was like, "Oh darn, it's a boy." Then she was like, "Oh, it's my little girl. I'm gonna name her Perfect." Oh, that was
it'd probably be worse being a liar.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the lying or supporting the lie.
It takes so much work to keep it up.
Yeah,
like she had to keep when it was Paul, or when it was Perfect at first, she was the only one that was in the room with her.
Yeah,
at any time, any given time, for any and everything.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So she changed all them diapers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. You didn't have no help, but back in the day, that's kind of how it was. Unless you had like family.
Yeah, like you said before, when a woman would give birth, no men were allowed in the room.
Yeah,
it's just women. So
yeah. But then boys play too much too, so I wouldn't want no dude.
they would have found out. They would have found out real quick.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's craziness. But yeah, it's crazy that you would think that all that time she didn't hang with any sort of women folk. But I guess they were busy.
Mm-hmm. Or they maybe just don't want to hang with what's her name, Emma Jean like that.
Yeah.
She seems like a person that's not a good friend.
Yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't want to be around her my own self.
That is true.
Yeah, she's a little off.
She said,
Mama said, "Good time for new bookshelves."
Right?
Like,
This is the new
don't
one.
even try to put it back up. Just get a new bookshelf.
Oh my god! I'll be like, babe, you don't guess what happened. Go to the
gotta
video.
play this back for him. You're at 2. I think that happened at about 2-hour mark. So if he wants to look back at it, fast forward to the 2-hour mark.
Okay, no, it was 2 this is the one shelf, and then this one just fell down.
Oh man. Well, at least they stayed on there when it fell down.
Yeah.
All of mine packed up in boxes. I gotta go get me a shelf. Taking notes.
That was crazy.
It happened so quick. All I know is I was looking one place, and then when I looked back, I heard you scream, and then the shelf was gone.
I just saw all this stuff tumble at you, and I was like, what?
Some of them fell on me, but it wasn't that bad.
It's bookworm problem.
Oh my god! I need a one of them Billy ones from IKEA.
What's up with the thumbs up that keeps going at your face?
Oh, me? Because I think I'm doing this
or
doing this, and for whatever reason, it keeps doing it.
Oh, is that with Restream?
Yeah.
Not me showing my crazy outfit.
So I put 2 fingers together. If I put 2 fingers together, it makes a, what do you call it?
Bad enough I got my bonnet on.
I like your bonnet.
Thank you.
Do you have a program on yours?
No, I'm just using my my phone. So
it's probably with your phone. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm not getting that.
Yeah, I'm sorry because I had to put my hand down, but I'm so used to doing this, and it kept doing thumbs up. So
are you on your phone, Kiana?
Huh?
Are you on your phone?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it's a phone thing. Maybe it's some settings.
I think it's with my phone. You can do it because it does that when I do FaceTime too.
I cannot believe this.
For Restream.
Oh.
Okay. Well, this was a fun group read. I enjoyed it. We should definitely do some more.
Good book. I was trying to be patient. I was waiting for you to get to the book because I know Kiana already finished it. And then when I was reading it, I was like, okay, is Courtney ever going to read this book? And then you finally picked it up like a couple of days ago. I was like, please hurry up.
Yeah, I read it like as soon as we talked about it. I think she thought the discussion was earlier. But here's the thing about me, group reads. When it comes to a group read, I like it to be fresh, though I can know all the little bitty details. So whenever I do a group read, I almost always read it the week that we are going to discuss it. So I started this on, I think, Sunday. So I'm always late when it comes to that. So it kind of sucks when we're doing a buddy read if we're not all reading like at the same time. So I think maybe if we want to kind of discuss it more, then it might be better like
Let's start these dishes.
Like a time frame where we, read it together so that we can, be on the
Yeah, I was thinking it was May 6th and not June 6th. And then I got it from the library, so I was like, let me get it now while it's available.
Right.
That was
why. My library only had 1 copy. So I think I had listened to it. No, they had 2 copies. Let me stop lying. Because I think I was listening to it at the same time as my mother, and then they didn't have any copies left. So it's always on hold.
Oh, really?
This book is
good.
Well, I'm assuming it's popular at my library because I got lucky that the audiobook came in when it did. I think I was maybe 60% into it, and then all of a sudden I had the audiobook. So,
see, my audio came through quick. Like soon as I selected it, it was available. And then the book, this is my second time having it because when I first started talking about the buddy read, I got it. And because I had planned to read it, then I was like, this book sounds like a really good book discussion book. And so I maxed out the hold like twice, and then I just returned it. And I'm bad with that, y'all. Don't come behind me in my library because I will get like I got the book, that Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. I got that book 3 times before I actually read it, and I maxed out the hold each and every time.
Really? Was it worth it though?
Yeah, it was good. Oh, that book's awesome.
Okay, I still haven't read it yet.
Yeah, that's a really good book. But yeah, for this one I had it. I kept maxing out the hold, and I returned it, and then I picked it back up again like last week. There wasn't really anybody on hold for it, but yeah. Which is funny because when I returned the audio book, there was somebody waiting for the audio.
So I went ahead and returned it early since I had the physical. I was like, it'll be fine. I got to go back though and transcribe my notes from Storygraph to the book because I plan on rereading it, just not anytime soon.
Yeah, it's a good book to read. Yeah, this is definitely a good discussion book for people that have like family book clubs and stuff. That would be a perfect one.
Perfect book to read.
Oh, another thing that he said a lot that I thought was interesting when he was like, back when I was perfect. And I was sitting there like, because it's not only when he was perfect as Perfect Peace, but back when I kept thinking about how he was talking about how everybody used to say that he was pretty and would validate, how, things he found important because that was what he grew up with. Appearance and stuff was important. People thought he was perfect as is, but when he became a boy, all of a sudden he was now flawed as a character. Whereas when he was a girl, it was okay for who he was. So I kept thinking it was interesting when he kept saying, "Well, back when I was
perfect," and it's like, but you're still perfect. Perfect is still in there. Yeah. The only thing that changes your name and your appearance. But you're perfect. Yeah, it's a lot of things to go through. I'm actually thankful now that I think about it. What's his name? King Solomon. He got his master's degree in what? Psychology?
Psychology,
Stuff like that, so he can understand his family. And
so he can analyze his mama.
Right.
So I need to figure out what these what her motivations were.
It's like that was just so important to her that she had a girl.
Yeah.
I would never understand. Me, honestly, like if I were her, I would stop at number 4. Why keep trying and having all these children and you're gonna have another boy?
And then she duped Gus. How I don't know, but he duped us. He was like, "I never want special woman." I was like,
Gus a little touched. He don't know. Gus don't know. And then he get upset with her. It's like, no, you should be upset with yourself because clearly you don't know how babies are made. You just know they pop up.
Emma never had perfect peace once her lie was birthday. Yep. And she didn't need it either. She didn't need it. You destroyed somebody else's life and act like it was no big deal. You don't need any sort of peace after that.
I wonder how that happened though. Like how long was she suffering with those voices before she ultimately walked off Jordan and into the water? Like was it a couple of years? Did it happen over a span of months? It just like she just kept getting worse and worse until I think the voice went away, right? But she was talking to other things in the room, and then the voice came back once she made it to the water. Because I think it told her to go to the water a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, but a year or so ago, it told her to go to the water. And she maybe didn't know what it meant by then, but they were trying to tell her to go to the Jordan.
But she didn't suffer super, super long because Paul was the dance. How old was he? He was almost graduated because the graduation, it was after that, right? When they had the party. So, and then I would say this is kind of like maybe like a senior type thing or whatever with the dance. So, I mean, I would say all that happened within like a year.
That's bad.
She didn't suffer too much, but yeah, she had a little lot in life, but she did what she had to do. She felt like she did what she needed to do. I just am like, I don't think it was that serious about the girl. She could have like did an honorary adopting of somebody else's kid, Or maybe it's not that way because here's the thing: a lot of these people do their work stuff like that. And her sisters, they never had kids. I thought it was so funny though, by the way, how they were doted on and stuff all their life, and then they wound up marrying these ugly broke dudes because they were holding out so long because their mama thought that they were perfect and all this stuff. And then they wound up getting what they could get, which was ugly broke dudes.
Not ugly and broke. We got to pick just one, but they got
Like,
both.
pick a struggle.
Right. Which one you want? Both. I mean, I don't want both of them. You got to be easy with the pockets or easy on the eyes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But there was
I'll be right back. Y'all keep talking.
Sure. There was one part that I highlighted as to why Imogene what she did. She said, well, like I said, it's on page 274. Well, like I said years ago, every woman got to fight for whatever piece of life she going to have. You fought for what you wanted, and so did I. So let's just leave things be. So that was like her way of just justifying stuff. She was like, well, we got to fight for everything anyway. So my way of fighting is lying about my child being a boy. Because that's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I mean, that was her one bit of time that she was happy. So that probably was her only, joy.
Right.
Joy for time in life,
Because her mama didn't like her for years, and she in this marriage that doesn't seem to be it's convenient, but it's not the happiest marriage.
Right.
And then she got 7 years of happiness with peace, not peace, with perfect until she took her own happiness away, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think she just kind of felt compelled to because it was gonna come out. He was getting older. It was eventually gonna come out, so she was just like, and then she knew that her perfect and Imogene was playing. What? That's not her name.
Eva May. Yeah.
Playing.
Also, she was scared.
So she was concerned that. So I mean, eventually, I think she would have found out. I think she just more or less knew that she had to say something because it was gonna come out.
She didn't want nobody else to say it. I wonder though, like, would it have been better if somebody else said it?
That's what I was wondering. Like, if it probably would have been, if it would have been found out some other way, it probably would have been even more traumatic. Like maybe when, oh goodness, yeah, it could have been really bad.
That would have been bad because I was thinking that when everything came out, instead of Eva May being okay with it and stuff, I was thinking for a little bit that she was going to tell her mama, and then they were going to be like, he took advantage of me. You know how people turn and twist that around. So I was happy that didn't come out during one of them little incidents, and then she run and tell, and then he gets in trouble, and people hunt him down and stuff. I just wish that when it came out that Imogene went and told her daddy first, like told Gus, because that was just traumatic. Like I had to put the book down for like an hour after she cut his hair off and put him in overalls and then brought him to the family and just exposed them. Like,
literally
crying, and nobody's even saying anything to him like about it. They're just like, he's sitting there naked with his wiener around in front of everybody and they're gawking at him. Like, that was sad. Traumatic. And then you change his name. Like, just cross out perfect and put Paul and. Okay,
oh yeah, I forgot they did do that. They crossed it out in the Bible.
Yeah, he didn't have his own room and all this stuff, and now he's like, okay, you sleep on out here with your brothers, and Arthur Lee and what's his face go have your room, and you're like, hold up, my whole life has changed, and y'all just acting like. No big deal. Like, I mean, it's a big deal, but just like we're gonna sleep on it, and then the next day, okay,
let's go to church. There was no breather at all. It was just kind of go, 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 go. No time to process anything at all.
Yeah, I was trying to process it. I'm just like,
I would have been depressed.
And then you cut all his hair off. Like, he went from getting his hair done with pretty little yellow ribbons and bows to you just like, imagine somebody coming, snatching your bonnet off Kiana and just start cutting your braids.
You gonna be a boy now.
I mean, I practically cry when I voluntarily decide to cut my hair, okay? Because I'm just like, am I making a mistake? I don't know. And then I do it, and then I look, and my eyes well up. Then I got to take a deep breath, and I did that on my own. Now you just do that to the little kid that's used to, oh, gotta get my hair braided and a yellow ribbon, and I'm just like,
I bet the hair could look bad too.
exactly.
You know it was. You know it's all uneven and crazy.
All like that doll from Rugrats, just cut up.
Cynthia.
Yeah. And then Arthurly, who, Arthurly, okay, he was mean at times. I ain't gonna lie. I don't think any of them knew how to process it.
Yeah, I don't
All
think
was
that was
to be a boy.
intentionally. They was trying to help in the way that they knew how.
Yeah.
Which,
But then you have Arthurly, like you're trying to depend on him to teach you how to be a boy. Like remember when, and then he's shaping his hair up and stuff. But remember when he showed him about how to pee right?
Oh yeah.
Like that's just traumatic. He probably ain't never seen a wiener up until that point. Too. And I'm just like,
it could have been done better.
Yeah.
But we all know here in the Black community, most things are extreme.
and this was way back in the day.
Yeah, they just pull a Band-Aid off because there's no subtlety when you gotta just live life. Like there's no grace period, I think, back then. Like trauma's trauma in there, and I think trauma is much easier handled, and there's more resources nowadays than having trauma back in the day. It's just like when I don't even go into a lot of the trauma back in the day. We'll be talking about that all day. But they just pull things off with a Band-Aid and keep going about business as usual because that's just life. This was definitely a different situation, but yeah, I just felt for the kid. I just felt like people were not thinking of his feelings, and also he's 8. He doesn't know kind of how to process
anything.
I mean, if anything, as fast as Miss Eva May was, she actually helped him process it. While she was molesting him.
Eva was doing a lot.
Not molesting.
She helped him.
She was doing something, but he was enjoying it. So I was like, okay, I guess it's not molesting.
That's where
I was a little bit.
You can't molest somebody the same age, can you?
You can.
I mean, as a kid.
I mean, in a way, as nefarious, if that's the term, was it was still an innocent play between.
Yeah, I think that was just this is what mommies and daddies do.
Yeah, it was inappropriate.
Because we're
adults, definitely,
but it was innocent, inappropriate play.
Yeah,
that they both enjoyed.
I feel like back then they never said. I know when I was younger, my mother would be like, "Y'all too quiet" or something like that. Like they never. I was confused. Right. They never wondered why you too quiet out there. But I guess they assume because it's two girls playing together, they don't have to worry about anything. That's the thing. People always assume that the same sex is playing together. There's no worries of anything bad happening.
Yeah. That's what Imogene said. She was like, okay, I never let the boys be alone with her except for Barthamus because he was blind. Like blind people can't get into stuff. But she thought it was okay with the girls. But she did say she wondered what they got off to, but she never followed them. And I'm like, girl, they disappeared under the house.
No, she knew. Yeah, she knew that was under the house or something, didn't she?
Yeah, but it's like she never went. I'm nosy. I want to know what you do in the house. What are you doing?
Exactly. You need to check up on kids. You don't just let them run amok. You need to be like, what are they doing? It's just like if your house is too quiet. You know, kids get into some stuff.
Yeah.
If the house is too quiet, you need to go figure out why.
Why? What is happening? What are you into? Who you messing with? I got questions.
Yeah.
But maybe because she got 7 kids, she couldn't be bothered. She too busy trying to make dinner.
She was tired.
Well, yeah, she was. I'd be tired too.
But she was all obsessed with Perfect all the time. You're not obsessed with what Perfect doing?
Nope.
I don't
know. Yeah, I would like a separate story about like a novella about Imogene.
Yeah, she needs her own book. I would read that. As much as we talk about everybody else, she's like that central character I keep going back to all the time.
Yeah, I just want to know what was going through her head this entire time.
I don't even think she knows.
I thought it was a good idea at the time. That's how she is.
She was like, I was just, maybe she was having, what do they call that? Postpartum, to where her world shocked because she was like, this is my last baby and I see a wiener. I wanted a girl. And maybe all of a sudden her postpartum or whatever, because that manifests itself in different ways. I mean, postpartum to me is almost like a PTSD, and so maybe she just, that's your thumbs up again.
And back then they didn't know that it's the man who his stuff that determines the sex.
Right.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
They probably blame it on the women.
Mm-hmm. They blame it on us, but it's like, no,
you didn't give me no sons when it's really them. You know how many women got abused or probably unalived because of that, because they didn't give him no sons.
That's this patriarchal society, girl.
So she probably had that sitting on her, like, I can't even make no girls. She probably had that on, I'm a bad person because I can't do this, and
Yeah.
I think the girl was supposed to be for her, not only to make up for her own childhood, but he wanted a boy. Remember they had that agreement when they got married, you work and take care of me, and hey, you have to provide me a boy, right? So the boy was for him, and I think the girl was supposed to be for her, and so she never got that. So she
never got it.
Honestly, I would even say, even before she had Perfect, the fact that she was not even a bad mom in spite of everything that happened. I mean, until she did that, she was fine. She was not a bad mom. Even with her childhood. So I mean, for the time,
Yeah, she was a good mom.
She was pretty decent.
She just wanted some company, maybe.
Yeah, probably. I think it's interesting though that she utilized religion to justify it. She said that God gives you a blessing, but it's up to you to make something out of that blessing. And so she made a girl.
I mean, she ain't lying. I mean,
no, you're right.
You do gotta. It's like when they say faith without works
is nothing,
right?
That's
you gotta,
true.
You can't, you gotta do your part,
right?
She said, "Well, you know what? I'm gonna make lemonade."
Yep. No, you're right though. Everything she did, she justified it with the Bible somehow, or something to do with God, or she would say something like, I deserve this. Like I've been through all these boys, so I deserve this, God. I deserve it.
I mean, she did deserve some kind of something.
Yeah, but like the child,
I know.
She deserved the asthma being tired. Enough of. That's what she deserved.
Girl, get a hobby. Oh, well, she didn't have time for no hobbies.
No, but you know what, you say that, right? But then when she had Perfect, notice she was, what did they show? The family kafar. She was making a family broke during frivolous
Where
things.
did she get all this money for them dresses and
clothes?
Yeah, I was wondering that. Where was she getting all this money?
Where was she getting all the money for all the dolls and all this stuff? Where was she getting
well, I mean,
she maybe just told him, she's the only girl, so how about we, spoil her a little bit.
No, but here's the thing though. Didn't a sister or somebody say, hey, I got some old clothes, they're practically brand new, my daughter never wore them, but she said, no, my kid gonna have everything brand new. And you
like you don't have money like that, ma'am.
Exactly. And the other kids are seeing that too. That's the thing. The other kids are seeing we don't have money, barely have any shoes, and we going out into the field, barely, and then you spending all of my money on frivolous things for a girl that's not even a girl.
Nobody else before then said, hey, I got some old boy clothes.
They maybe did.
They probably did, but I'm just centering on the fact that she is splurging and making the family sacrifice for things that they need for warmth, for this little girl to spoil. And then, like I said, once the Perfect now is Paul, I would sit there and be thinking, if I was the girl, how much you wasted. The family could be in a better financial situation if you hadn't wasted the money. And then on top of that, to add to the spoil, you sacrifice for a brand new suit when material, spent more money for material for making something for Paul. Whereas, was it Bartimaeus went to the same dance in Gus's old big suit? You spent all this wasted resources to make a suit just for Paul.
Yep. You
So
might as well say Paul is our only child.
Miss Henrietta will go crazy. For what?
Yep. That was so weird. I was like, what is going on here? Why are we doing all of this with Paul?
That's
You
that child
got
favoritism. Not even.
dang. 7 kids, and this is the only one you can focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I'm glad that this was the last one though, because at least the boys, before had decent lives, I guess, before he came along. But Mr. was what?
Sorry.
4, 3, 4.
Mr. was number.
He was 6, but I'm saying like how much younger or older
Oh,
than Paul was he when he came along?
so I think he's 5 years. Because
5 years?
Perfect was born May 17th, 1940.
Yeah.
And then Mr. was born in 1935.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, 1935, August 16th.
Okay, so up until 5 years before, then they all had a pretty decent life, but then they were still all struggling, and stuff like that. But then this girl comes along, and that is also validates to Paul / Perfect about I'm this special person because look at how much resources have been going towards me. And then wow, now Perfect is now Paul. Now I'm out here getting dirty, handling snakes, and nobody says I'm perfect. When look at the extent of what the mom was doing the first 8 years. So that's another identity crisis coming up about, hell, am I not worth anything that I'm no longer considered special?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going, but mama still sacrificed my baby.
Yeah.
Send them to school when hell, you're not even doing the schoolwork. Solomon
Right.
is.
Saul was doing this. Saul over here, like, let me do your homework. Let me read your books. I'm
And
like,
the teacher
Saul.
knew it.
And I think then they took Saul out of school so he can, because of Bartimaeus was blind, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Like that's how they justified it. It's not that they couldn't afford to put him through school. It's almost like they were saying they needed extra hands since Bartimaeus couldn't really do much because he's blind.
No. They took Solomon out of school because she put Paul in school because they said he's not good outside. And in order for him to make something of himself, education is his way out, not manual labor. So that's the reason Saul was taken out of school.
But Saul had been out of school way before we even knew that Paul was Perfect was Paul. You know what I mean?
No, he was attending school, I think.
No, he wasn't in school.
He was in school because they took Solomon out of school to replace it with Paul.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to find it. I'm going to let y'all know. Because when I was reading it, it sounded like he was taken out of school because of Bartimaeus. And then because they knew he wanted to go to school. That's why Imogene and Gus, when they were discussing putting Paul in school, he said, well, you know that what's his name, Saul is going to be looking at you funny, basically, or he's going to hate you because he wants to be in school.
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay. I'm going to have to go back and read that part. Because this whole time I thought that he wasn't in school anymore. They had took him out because
No, I think he got out of school when Perfect became Paul, and then they decided to put him in school. I think that was what happened.
Okay.
I don't know the reasoning.
Yeah, that's when he went to school. When Perfect was perfect, he was. I think they took Bartimaeus out because they were trying to send him, but there was no use for Bartimaeus. They don't have Braille and stuff like that by that time.
Yeah.
So it was like because they were trying to decide who would go to school because they couldn't spare all the hands. My curiosity was, okay, as these kids grew up and got married and left the house, who's doing all this work around in the fields with Gus? That's another story, but I was just
to hire somebody, I guess. Ain't no way unless you got grandkids that are willing to, help out.
All right, y'all. I gotta go. I gotta get my baby from dance.
Oh, I gotta go too, y'all. I gotta go work tomorrow.
My husband will be here pretty soon. I gotta wash some clothes too.
Well, this has been an awesome time. Thank y'all very much for participating in Perfect.
Thank you for inviting me.
Good time. If there's any other group reads we can all collaborate on, it would be Awesome. And then maybe we can read it at the same time. We'll have to figure that out because y'all know how I'll be waiting till the last minute.
Well, I don't mind. It's okay. That's why I did not. I tried really hard not to spoil anything, no matter how excited I was. I would just message Kiana. I'd be like, "Girl," and I got it out.
Girl panties and undergarments on Paul with his development.
Right?
I know, right? That's uncomfortable. Like, Mama, why am I wearing these clothes like this? This don't
They
feel
were
right.
like, take them underwear off and put on them boy underwear.
Please, let them breathe.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right,
thanks
y'all
for bringing
subscribe
us
to my channel so that I could get monetized and get some new bookshelves.
Oh, there you go.
Because y'all
Make sure
starting
you
action.
subscribe to all the people here as well. I think just one was the only one that's here.
Them shows went down.
I can't believe it.
It
Thank
was a
you.
fun discussion. Thank you very much for attending. It was a good time. I
I
enjoyed
almost
it.
asked her to be on here too, but I was like, y'all, it's gonna be unhinged if I had my mama on here.
My mama must have left.
Because she knows like the scriptures and stuff, and she would have been bringing up a whole bunch of scriptures. I'm pretty sure she got a list of them right now. Right.
This might be one of the book to highlight for yourself.
Yes. We'll have to figure out what another book we want to read. Are we going to try to read another book by a male author or a female author? Because I feel like I don't read a lot of books by Black male authors. That's why I asked.
I don't either. We can try to decide.
Because I know
S.A. Cosby would be a good one. You ever read S.A. Cosby?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, he'd be a good one right there. He likes stuff from the, talk about things from the South. Okay, Miss Kiana, go pick on your baby girl.
Alrighty. Bye.
Okay, we'll decide on one at some point. Okay. Let me get on out of here. Let me go get laid down. 6 o'clock comes early.
Yes.
Gotta go take care of some patients. Okay, y'all. Thank y'all very much for coming. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thanks for the chats. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Mama Washington. I think that was and Nicole.
Nicole, yeah. She said she's gonna watch the replay.
I have a video for anybody interested in on Saturday morning. I have a video doing just a video about this book too. Everybody that missed the stream, but I'm gonna link this in there too. So